Global selection. At the beginning, link to Iron Man. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26. Even Jesus couldn't save him. At this time, everyone's eyes were cast on Zhang Debao. They seemed to be asking, where is Senior Suyu? Zhang Debao was touching his round belly, grinning and about to speak. At this time, a tall female guard came over with a tablet computer, saluted and reported, "Captain, the statistics of this defense battle are out. Speak." Zhang Debao waved his hand. According to statistics, more than 12,000 beasts were annihilated this time. The big wave of guards reported loudly. When this was said, everyone was stunned. And the most shocked of course were the group of masters who had just rushed back to the Magic City. Especially Wang Jinggang and Fang Wenski. They were stunned on the spot with their eyes wide open. "You said, how much?" Wang Jinggang asked in disbelief. This time, a total of 12,000 beasts were annihilated. The female guard answered again. "Ha ha ha. Big victory. Big victory." Zhang Debao touched his beard and laughed loudly regardless of his image. Everyone was extremely happy at this moment, but they were more shocked. Who would have thought that, after losing almost all of their main masters, the Magic City army, which had only soldiers but no generals, could achieve such an impressive record? This must be all the credit of Senior Suyu. Wang Jinggang sighed at this moment. How is Suyu's record? Zhang Debao looked at the guards again at this moment. The hot female guard also stole a glance at Suyu. Seeing the legendary, heroic and extraordinary Su God, who is unstoppable, the female guard's breathing suddenly became rapid. "Hurry up and tell me, why are you staring at that boy? Isn't that boy more handsome?" Wang Jinggang was extremely anxious at this time. Seeing that the female guard not only did not speak, but also stared at a boy, he hurriedly urged angrily, "I want to ask you, what is the record of Senior Suyu? Are you here to catch a rich man? Tell me." At this time, the female guard also hurriedly retracted her sight and said, "Su God. Suyu's record is that he killed 5 3rd-level Thunder Flame Wing Eagles with one sword. He easily destroyed 5 2nd-level Siege Beasts. He released the residual power and the scattered energy to kill thousands of 1st-level beasts." After the guard finished speaking, a pin drop could be heard on the entire Great Wall. Only the whistling wind blew past everyone's ears. Then, the crowd on the entire Great Wall of the Magic City exploded directly. "Wow. Oh my god. Is this still a human? So fierce." The uncontrolled shouts resounded through the world. The ordinary soldiers who were cleaning the battlefield in the Magic City were all startled by the sound. They were all wondering, what on earth are these masters going crazy about? At this time, on the Great Wall of the Magic City, everyone was still in shock. Even the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, frowned and didn't know what he was thinking. Lanxing looked at the somewhat confused Suyu with a gentle smile on her lips. "The Sword Master is so terrifying. I wonder when my Fang Wensi can reach the level of Senior Suyu." At this time, Fang Wensi was so excited that he almost pulled out a few strands of his grey beard. After all, he met a Sword Master. If he could get a few pointers from him, it would be a great fortune. At this time, Fang Wensi was excited. Swish. The sword behind Fang Wensi came out directly. Then a sword with a cold light was placed on Zhang Debao's thick neck. "Zhang Debao, you are going too far. Where is my Senior Suyu? If you dare to play tricks on me again, I will die with you." Fang Wensi was very excited at this time. But what was a little unusual was that no one stopped him. It seemed that everyone hated Zhang Debao, the fat guy. "Don't. Old Fang. Don't be excited. Isn't the Senior Suyu you mentioned right in front of you?" At this time, Zhang Debao, with a sword shining with cold light on his neck, naturally did not dare to shout and could only point in the direction of Suyu. Everyone looked in the direction Zhang Debao pointed and saw Suyu's handsome and somewhat overly young face. At this time, Suyu's face was normal and everyone's expressions were also wonderful. Fang Wensi looked at the young Suyu, then at Zhang Debao, and was immediately furious. "Okay, Zhang Debao, how dare you fool me? You actually use a child to fool me?" Grandmaster Suyu is my idol. The Grandmaster cannot be insulted. Today I will fight you, a bastard. As he said that, he drew his sword and chopped. At this time, Suyu saw that Zhang Dabao was going to be chopped because of him. Suyu felt that he was also somewhat responsible, so he persuaded this old man, "Why are you going to chop him?" Fang Wenzi was also stunned when he heard Suyu's words, and then explained, "This bastard not only teased me, but also disrespected Senior Suyu. He even tricked me into saying that you are Senior Suyu. This is disrespectful to Senior Suyu. The Grandmaster cannot be insulted. Today I will chop him. Even Jesus can't save him." At this time, Fang Wenzi drew his sword and chopped again. Suyu said again, "Old man, Zhang Dabao is not lying. I'm Suyu." As soon as this was said, everyone frowned. Then everyone talked with different expressions. What did this kid say? This kid actually said that he is Senior Suyu. Someone dares to pretend to be the master? Fang Wenzi was stunned again. Then he was furious. "Okay, you yellow-haired boy dare to call yourself the master of Suyu. The name of the master cannot be insulted. I'll chop you first." At this time, Fang Wenzi rushed towards Suyu with a sword. Suyu was also shocked. Jarvis fell into a deep sleep at this time, and the Stark base was being upgraded. If the armor could not be summoned, he would be chopped to death here today. When Fatty Wang and Lin Kingsu saw this scene, they hurriedly wanted to step forward to stop it. But no one around took action. Those who knew Suyu's identity and strength looked at this scene with a smile. The masters of the Magic City also wanted to see the strength of this young man who called himself Suyu. "Good boy, take my sword. I admit that you are Suyu." At this time, Fang Wenzi actually stopped and threw the sword in his hand. The sword in Fang Wenzi's hand swam around in the air like a fish, and the next moment it stabbed straight at Suyu. The method of controlling the sword. It seems that this old Fang has really touched the threshold of the 4th level. Everyone also commented with emotion, with an expression of watching the excitement and not minding the big things. Although Suyu remained calm on the surface at this time, he shouted in his heart, "Jarvis. Is Jarvis ready? If you don't come out, I will be chopped." At this moment, the Stark base that was originally dark and dim in his mind suddenly became bright. In this huge Stark base that looks like a mine, there are densely packed alloy giant doors. Behind each alloy door is Stark's core technical equipment. Stark products must be exquisite. "Sorry, sir, I kept you waiting for so long. The system upgrade is complete, the degree of integration has increased, and your combat power will also increase. And you can now choose any door to open." At this moment, Suyu suddenly saw a few characters on the alloy door behind him in a flash. "Veronica? Veronica?" Suyu's face changed drastically, as if he saw something unbelievable. After all, the full name of Veronica is Anti-Hulk Armor, which is a giant armor that can fight against the Peak Hulk. And the masters on the Great Wall of the Magic City all caught Suyu's horrified expression at this moment. Disappointment was revealed in everyone's eyes. Even the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, frowned slightly. This kid doesn't seem to be very good. Fang Wenzi also noticed this, and was about to stop with a helpless smile. After all, he, a master of Kendo, couldn't bully a child. Who knew that at this moment, a light shout rang out, "Armor Fusion." Chapter 27, the GD sword appears. The sun appears in the sky. With Suyu's light shout, a dazzling white light flashed. Then a golden and white armor wrapped around Suyu in front of everyone. Wow. What is this thing? This kid is quite capable. Quite intimidating. No wonder he dared to pretend to be Senior Suyu. Whose contract was this signed with? Could it be the legendary Iron Man? No way. Isn't it said that the Iron Man contract is useless? At this time, the masters of the Magic City began to discuss again. Suyu, who summoned the armor, raised his palm directly and fired a palm cannon at the flying sword in the air. Dang. A sound of metal collision sounded, and Fang Wenzi's flying sword in the air was directly blown away by Suyu's cannon. Boy, you are quite capable. At this time, Fang Wenzi was also interested. Then he formed a seal with both hands again and shouted, "Ha ha ha. Look at my sword." As soon as the voice fell, a strong wind blew. Fang Wenzi's spiritual sword vibrated wildly in the air. The sharp sound of the sword attracted the attention of everyone on the Great Wall of the Magic City. Everyone was staring at the sword that was constantly condensing in the air. Countless airwaves were seen floating towards the constantly trembling spiritual sword like ribbons. The spiritual sword was slowly wrapped by these ki and gradually condensed into a giant sword tens of meters long. The giant sword gradually solidified. The pressure emitted by the terrifying giant sword was infinitely close to the 4th level. At this moment, even the ordinary soldiers under the Great Wall felt this extremely fierce pressure. Old Man Fang, are you crazy? Are you going to aim your strongest sword at your teammates? At this time, Zhang Debao went crazy. Master, don't. Duan Fiai also shouted excitedly at this time. He is really Suyu. He is the hero of the Magic City. You can't do this. Stop it. At this time, Zhang Debao looked at the terrifying giant sword that was almost solid in the air and was about to make a move, but he found that the city lord Lin Aocean was blocking Lin Kingsu, who was about to make a move and did not say anything to stop the crazy Fang Wenski. The surrounding powerful warriors of the demon city did not try to stop him. Everyone was staring at Suyu. Why is Old Man Fang doing this? Zhang Debao seemed to have thought of something and stopped moving forward. Alas, Old Man Fang has been stuck at the threshold of the 4th level for nearly 20 years and has almost given up hope. Now that he has met such a young sword master, he naturally wants to give it a try and see if he can take the opportunity to break through. At this time, Wang Jinggang clenched his hands and said with some difficulty, "But Old Fang Tao is already the strongest swordsman in the Magic City. The city lord is not good at using a sword, but the only way for a swordsman to break through is to break out of his cocoon and be reborn. So Old Fang Tao wants to use a more powerful sword master to help him break out of his cocoon, even if the possibility is very small." At this time, Fatty Wang, who was stopped by the people around him, almost went berserk. Fatty Wang roared, "Assholes! What are you doing? Suyu is the hero of the entire Magic City. You actually point your sword at your own people." And Wang Jinggang felt a little guilty and didn't dare to look directly into Fatty Wang's angry eyes. He could only sigh and then said, "Since Old Fang was injured by the one-eyed, double-edged saber-toothed Tiger King 20 years ago, he has made no progress. In that battle, Old Fang's wife and children all fell into the tiger's mouth. Old Fang has had a hard time. The only purpose of his life now is revenge. So he desperately wants to become stronger." At this time, Duan Fiai also knelt on the ground crying, "Master, in order to save me, didn't have time to rush back to rescue his family. He could only watch the one-eyed double-edged saber-toothed tiger swallow his family. It's all because of me." Looking at the cold-blooded swordsman Duan Fiai, who was kneeling on the ground and crying, and then looking at the silent masters of the Magic City, Fatty Wang was silent, and at the same time he understood. They had long known that Zhang Debao was telling the truth. They all knew that the young man in front of them was the Suyu they were talking about, but they needed Suyu and Fang Wenzi to fight. At this time, Fang Wenzi's hair and beard were all standing up, and the terrifying giant sword that exuded amazing pressure was floating above Fang Wenzi's head. "Suyu, I'm sorry, if you can break my move with your sword this time, I'm willing to go to the Void Cave in Yanjing and die together with a one-eyed double-edged saber-toothed tiger. I will use this life to avenge. I will use this life to get your forgiveness." At this time, Suyu fell silent. He originally wanted to summon the anti-Hulk armor directly. He punched the abominable old man's giant sword, but after listening to Wang Jinggang and Fang Wenzi's words, Suyu fell silent. It turned out that they had known his identity for a long time. It turned out that the old man in front of him just wanted to use his life to win a little chance of advancement, and today he would use his life to avenge his wife and children. This kind of person is really distressing. It's admirable. In this case, Suyu gave up the idea of summoning a giant anti-Hulk mecha to win directly, but looked down at the rusty iron rod lying quietly at his feet. "Senior Suyu. Sorry." At this time, Fang Wenzi shouted, and then formed a seal with both hands, and the giant sword in the air trembled again. And everyone was staring at this scene on the Great Wall of the Magic City. Secret method. The evil slaying giant sword. Spiritual cultivation sword. Out. Fang Wenzi's mouth was bleeding. He shouted fiercely. He put his two fingers together and pointed directly at Suyu. At this moment, dark clouds surged above the Great Wall of the Magic City. A strong wind blew. The giant sword that was tens of meters long kept trembling and rushed straight towards Suyu. At this time, Suyu raised his head slightly and then laughed out loud. Ha ha ha. So courageous. What a 3-foot spiritual sword. I will not stop until I kill the evil. At this time, Suyu stretched out his right arm, waved his hand, and the rusty iron rod under his feet flew into Suyu's hand. No way, he won't fight with a rusty iron rod. That seems to be the GD sword in the West Mountain Secret Realm. Seeing the iron rod in Suyu's hand, all the masters of the Magic City who went to the West Mountain Secret Realm were stunned. Is that the sword? That rusty iron rod? At this time, Fatty Wang and Zhang Dabio said in unison. Only the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, saw this scene, frowned, and thought about it. At this time, the giant sword carrying a strong pressure has already killed Suyu. At this time, Fang Wenzi still maintained the posture of pointing directly at Suyu, and blood was oozing from Fang Wenzi's mouth and nose. Ha ha ha. You are really an old horse waiting for the stable. You have great ambitions. Suyu praised. Then everyone saw that Suyu, who was under the terrifying giant sword, swung the rusty iron rod in his hand. But a red light suddenly stretched out from the iron rod. This light was like a light tube, and like a sword blade. It was more than 3 feet long, and the palm cannon in the center of Suyu's hand armor was constantly providing energy to the iron rod, which was also the hilt of the sword. At this time, the hilt of the sword was silver white, emitting a bright metallic glow. There was not a single trace of rust, and the sword blade condensed by light, which emitted a scarlet glow, was emitting a terrifying high temperature. At this time, even the hard ground under Suyu's feet began to melt slowly. The GD sword came out. The terrifying pressure instantly swept the whole audience. Even the momentum of the terrifying giant sword in the air was directly weakened by 3 points. Is this what the GD sword really looks like? Seeing this scene, the faces of everyone present, including the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, changed. GD sword? This is the real GD sword, Wang Jinggang exclaimed at this time. The masters of the Magic City were already stunned by the shock. After all, they had seen with their own eyes that the so-called GD sword was just a worn-out metal stick. But now in Suyu's hands, it is sharp and powerful. I have heard that the sword will automatically recognize its master. I didn't expect that. Lin Aocean, was also short-sighted this time. At this time, Lin Aocean also shook his head and sighed. Ha ha ha. It's worthy of being Master Su. It's really a monster. You can make the GD sword recognize its master. I can die under your GD sword today, and it's enough to rest in peace. Seeing that Suyu could actually make the GD sword recognize its master and regain its vitality, Fang Wenzi was also very moved. Then, the spiritual giant sword suddenly smashed down. Ha ha ha. Come and fight. Suyu also laughed out loud. The next moment, boom. With a loud noise, the extremely solid ground under Suyu's feet shattered. Suyu, holding the scarlet GD sword in his hand, rushed towards the terrifying giant sword in the air like a stream of light. The next moment, the scarlet GD lightsaber and the light blue spiritual giant sword collided in the air. The dazzling giant ball of light exploded in the air in an instant. The GD sword appeared. The sun was in the sky. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28, Sword Heart breaks out of the cocoon. Swordmaster Realm. The Great Wall of the Demon City, a huge bright and dazzling light ball in the air exploded. The dazzling light covered everyone's vision. The next moment, a loud shout sounded, GD light sword, break. The next moment, a scarlet light appeared in the center of the dazzling light ball. The next moment the white light dissipated, replaced by a scarlet sky-high sword piercing the sky. At this time, everyone was surprised to find that the GD sword in Suyu's hand had grown longer at some point. The next moment, the GD sword, which was the same length as the terrifying spiritual giant sword, slashed down with a bang. Scarlet light flashed. This light instantly crossed the sword body of the spiritual giant sword. Then this light cut directly into the ground without any hindrance. Cut a thin line on the ground of the extremely hard Demon City Great Wall. At the same time, Suyu's figure in armor also landed with a bang. Directly fell in front of Fang Wenski. The next moment, the terrifying spiritual giant sword in the air was also directly split into two halves from the middle. Then, it shattered with a bang. Sword energy spread. The huge airwave blew Fang Wenzi's pale long hair. At this time, Fang Wenzi looked at Suyu in front of him with lifeless eyes. The next moment, Fang Wenzi knelt on the ground powerlessly. To cultivate the sword is to cultivate the mind. Your sword is your heart. At this time, Suyu's voice was blessed by the armor and echoed on the great wall of the magic city. You are blinded by hatred, and you forget that you have a disciple who treats you like a father and comrades who are as close as brothers. After hearing Suyu's words, Fang Wenzi, who had originally had lifeless eyes, gradually had a brilliance in his eyes. Then Fang Wenzi looked at his disciple Duan Fiayu, who was also kneeling on the ground with red and swollen eyes. Then he looked at the group of life and death friends who had experienced countless desperate situations together. Thank you for your guidance, senior. At this time, Fang Wenzi seemed to have a feeling, bowed to Suyu again, and hurriedly sat cross-legged. At this time, everyone looked at Suyu and Fang Wenzi with worry. The next moment, countless ki surged towards Fang Wenzi. Then they disappeared without a trace in his body. Everyone's heart was directly pulled up. And at this moment, an extremely sharp sword ki rushed up from the Xianshu acupoint on Fang Wenzi's head. And the broken spiritual sword seemed to sense it and flew up instantly. In the air, the spiritual sword directly connected with the sharp sword ki and merged instantly. And the broken spiritual sword became complete again after fusing with this life sword ki. Even sharper than before. Even more chilling. Life sword ki fused sword. 4th level. Sword master. At this time, Wang Jinggang also cheered instantly. And the lord of the demon city, Lin Ocean, also breathed a sigh of relief. Sword ki fused sword. Not bad. My demon city has added another sword master. Ha ha ha. On the great wall of the demon city, all the masters also cheered directly. After all, they were comrades who had experienced life and death together many times. Fang Wenzi's breakthrough into a sword master was something everyone was happy to see. Return. Fang Wenzi suddenly opened his eyes and shouted softly. The brand new spiritual sword flew into the scabbard like a stream of light. Everyone could feel that the spiritual sword had become more powerful and spiritual now. Old Fang Wenzi, I pay my respects to Senior Suyu. At this time, Fang Wenzi wanted to pay his respects to Suyu in front of him, but was caught by Suyu. Master. Duan Fiayu hurried forward with red and swollen eyes and came to Fang Wenzi. Master, let your disciple pay his respects to Suyu on your behalf. Duan Fiayu knelt down and was caught by Suyu again. You two are more than 100 years old in total, and you are still trying to do this to me. I think you want to curse me. At this time, Suyu had to remove his armor and then pretended to be angry and joked. Senior Su has been very kind to me, Fang Wenzi, and I will never forget it. At this time, Fang Wenzi still wanted to kneel down. Suyu was furious when he saw this scene. Why is this old man so old-fashioned? Either you want to live or die, or you want to kneel down. Wenzi. Finally, a deep but powerful voice sounded. City Lord. At this time, Fang Wenzi and Duan Fiayu also let go of Suyu's arms. Wenzi, your breakthrough is a great joy, but you just pointed the sword at your comrades. Although you are eager to break through, you can escape the death penalty, but you can't escape the punishment of life. At this time, the lord of the demon city, Lin Ocean, stood in the center of the great wall, with his long black hair flying, like an ancient demon god. After hearing Lin Ocean's words, everyone present felt depressed. This city lord has always rewarded merits and punished crimes. Today, you, Fang Wenzi, have made a big mistake. To correct the morale of the army, you must be severely punished. At this time, the lord of the demon city, Lin Ocean, directly released his pressure. After the breakthrough, Fang Wenzi was already a 4th level sword master, but how could he withstand the pressure of a 5th level strongman? Question mark? At this time, Fang Wenzi was directly pressed to his knees by Lin Ocean's pressure, but there was no grief or anger on his face. Is the city lord going to play for real? Seeing this scene, everyone present was terrified. The hearts of all the masters of the magic city sank to the bottom. But even so, no one dared to express the slightest dissatisfaction. Because the man standing in front of them was the bloody Linneocean, the city lord of the magic city. At this time, Suyu was also feeling the pressure from Linneocean, and was horrified. This pressure gave Suyu the feeling of a peerless beast mixed with fierce blood and energy. How could this be the city lord of the magic city? This is clearly a peerless beast that has experienced a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. At this time, Suyu suspected that, even if he put on the anti-Hulk mecha, it would be difficult to defeat the man in front of him. After all, the degree of fusion between him and Iron Man is less than 1/10 now. Only by constantly improving his degree of fusion, he may be able to fight with Linneocean in the future. At this moment, Zhang Deibao stepped forward with great pressure, bowed his hands and said, "City Lord, Fang Wensi contradicted my Demon City hero Suyu today. Suyu has done a great favor to the Demon City, so I suggest that Suyu deal with Fang Wensi. Please let the City Lord decide." At this time, Linneocean also nodded. Dabao is right, Suyu is a hero, so I will give him face, and let Suyu decide. At this time, Linneocean put away his pressure. At this time, Fatty Wang and those ordinary soldiers also breathed a sigh of relief. Those who were affected by Linneocean's pressure just now all felt an indescribable terror and pressure. It seems that there is a terrible beast living in the body of the Demon City Lord Linneocean. At this time, those masters of the Demon City also breathed a sigh of relief. After all, they believe that Suyu is a kind child and must not have the heart to let Fang Wensi be punished, right? At this time, Suyu was helpless. "Good fellow, you are the city lord, and you are playing a trick on us? Question mark. Originally, Suyu was not going to punish Fang Wensi, the respectable old man. But now, Suyu looked at Zhang Deibao who was winking at him and signaling him to give in. Looking at Zhang Deibao's big fat face and small eyes that kept twisting, this face of a profiteer, Suyu suddenly had the idea of teasing this fat guy. Then Suyu directly clasped his hands and said seriously, "Lord City Lord, he should be punished. A legion needs to enforce orders and clearly distinguish rewards and punishments." When these words came out, everyone was stunned. Even Zhang Deibao was stunned. This kid. How can he practice swordsmanship with such a small mind? Question mark. Is he really going to be punished? Question mark. It's just that he was almost chopped by a 40-meter long sword. Well, it's understandable not to forgive. Everyone knew in their hearts that Fang Wensi was indeed wrong, but they still blamed Suyu in their hearts. The lord of the magic city, Linneocean, was also slightly stunned. Just as he was about to speak, Suyu continued, "He must be punished." But this time, Fang Wensi was just deceived and made only a small mistake. The one who should be punished the most this time is Zhang Deibao. Zhang Deibao is a culprit. It's all his fault that he didn't explain clearly. This led to the misunderstanding between me and Uncle Fang. As soon as these words came out, everyone on the Great Wall was dumbfounded. What is Sushen doing? Question mark. Killing with a borrowed knife? Question mark. And Zhang Deibao was even more dumbfounded. What the hell does it have to do with me? Question mark. Don't I just want to smooth things over? Question mark. It's not me who is chopping you with a 40-meter long sword! Exclamation mark. And is it really okay for you to call a spade in front of the lord of the city? Question mark. At this time, Fang Wensi also looked like an honest man. He looked at Suyu with a puzzled face and then explained, "Senior Su, you may have misunderstood. It was actually me." Suyu interrupted directly, "What do you have to do here? You are just making trouble. Go to the back." Then, Fang Wensi walked behind Suyu in a dejected manner. Suyu continued, "Zhang Deibao knew about it, but did not report it, and reported it late. His crime is unforgivable, so he should be punished severely. Well, punish him to sweep the toilet for 3 days." When this was said, everyone was stunned, and then burst into laughter. Countless people applauded. Zhang Deibao was about to jump up and curse, but then he thought that Suyu was a blackheart. If he jumped up now, he might have to sweep the toilet for 3 months. This is not okay, so he gave up. Suyu continued, as for Fang Wenski, although it is a small mistake, he must be punished. After all, I, Suyu, value fairness the most. How about this? Punish him and don't let him call me senior in the future. Chapter 29. The battle ends. Visitors from Yanjing. A large flock of crows descended from the sky above the Great Wall of the Magic City, landing on the broken limbs of the beasts outside the Great Wall. Outside the Great Wall, in the sea of blood and corpses, countless crows were startled by the loud laughter of the masters on the Great Wall of the Magic City. At this time, all the masters on the Great Wall of the Magic City gave Suyu a thumbs up. The masters of the Magic City were all laughing and whispering, "This Su god is really worthy of the title of Grand Master. He has the demeanor of a great man. Yes, he is young but broad-minded, and is a rare talent for a great general. Not bad. He clearly distinguishes rewards and punishments. Hahaha, if I can become his subordinate in the future, I will definitely be very proud of my ancestors' grades. The punishment is so good. Hahaha." At this time, Zhang Debao secretly watched his comrades behind him whispering timidly and praising Suyu in various ways, and suddenly felt extremely sad in his heart. Don't you bastards have a guilty conscience? Suyu's whole heart is black. Isn't it me who is chasing him with a 40-meter long sword? Are you so happy to see him punish me? At this time, Zhang Debao wanted to cry, but had no tears. Fang Wenzi was also very sad after hearing what Suyu said. No. As the saying goes, the wise are the teachers. Senior Suyu has done me a great favor. But at this time, the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Ocean, smiled and nodded and interrupted. In that case, then listen to Suyu. Zhang Debao, Fang Wenzi, did you two hear it clearly? At this time, Zhang Debao and Fang Wenzi bowed with a look of grievance. Yes. City Lord. The order of the City Lord. The order must be obeyed. And Suyu nodded with satisfaction, and then offered the brand new metal hilt in his hand, which had turned silver white, with both hands. City Lord, your magic sword. No, this is your magic sword. At this time, the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Ocean, also patted Suyu's shoulder with satisfaction. Suyu's shoulder was almost broken by Lin Ocean's big hands like bear paws. Suyu was surprised. The flesh and blood of the City Lord were extremely terrifying, and a light pat had such power. Then Suyu realized what Lin Ocean said, and asked in disbelief, "What did you say?" I said, "This is your magic sword. If I guess correctly, this GD sword can only be activated and used with your armor. This is fate. I thought it was a piece of scrap metal, but I didn't expect it to shine again in your hands. This sword has now recognized you as its master, and this sword can only exert its greatest power in your hands. Besides, you have made great contributions this time, so this magic sword is also what you deserve. Just consider it a reward for you." At this time, the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Ocean, patted Suyu's shoulder gently again. Suyu suddenly felt that his shoulder was really going to break. In this case, thank you, Lord City Lord. At this time, Suyu didn't care about the pain in his shoulder and hurriedly thanked him excitedly. Hahaha, a sword is given to a hero. Su Shen is a great hero of my Magic City, so he is naturally qualified to receive such a reward. That's great. The Lord of the City also has a key knife for heroes. At this time, all the masters on the Great Wall of Magic City nodded in praise. Suyu deserved this magic sword. There was no objection. Lin Qingsu also looked at Suyu with a gentle smile, and Fatty Wang also had a silly smile on his face. But at this moment, the female guard hurried over again with a tablet in hand, and her expression was also very serious. When everyone saw this scene, their hearts tightened. Lord of the City. The military satellite detected that a huge flying object was flying quickly towards the Magic City. The female guard was nervous at this time. At this time, all the masters of the Magic City looked solemn. Could it be a giant flying beast? At this time, Zhang Debao also looked serious. Have you detected whether it is a large military transport plane of the human race? The female guard also frowned at this time, and then shook her head. All the signals we sent fell into the sea, and we didn't get any response. The staff analyzed that there are only two possibilities. It may be a super large flying beast, accounting for 30% of the possibility. It may also be a transport plane with a very high safety level, accounting for 70% of the possibility. At this time, the masters listened to the conclusion given by the staff, and the big stone in their hearts was put down a little bit. The desperate Great Wall in Yanjing should not allow super large flying beasts to go deep into the rear. So it is very likely that it is really a transport plane. At this time, Zhang Debao also analyzed. But the safety level is actually higher than that of the Magic City. There is only one possibility. At this time, Han Migi also had a solemn face. Could it be a giant transport plane of the Yanjing inspection team? After this, everyone was silent. The Yanjing Expedition Team, full name, Yanjing God Chosen Academy Expedition Team. The Yanjing Expedition Team is an expedition team used by the Yanjing God Chosen Academy to select the best God Chosen talents from all over the country. It also shoulders the responsibility of transporting the best students to various places to help various places resist the beast tide. Whenever an important city faces a catastrophe, the giant transport plane of the Yanjing Expedition Team will deliver supplies and the monsters in the academy as reinforcement. In order to prevent the invasion of ferocious beasts that can transform, the Yanjing Expedition Team has the highest security level, higher than the security level of all cities. At this time, the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, also narrowed his eyes and looked towards the north. For some reason, he, the dignified blood slaughter, actually had a bad premonition. Is that old guy coming? Lin Aocean guessed silently in his heart. At the same time, a giant transport plane more than 1,000 kilometers away from the Magic City was flying secretly in the clouds. In addition to ammunition and supplies, there were also several sofas on the plane, with several people dressed as warriors sitting on them. The leader, a man with a grey beard, holding a dragon staff, and wearing a brocade robe, was none other than Lin Qianlong, one of the 5 vice presidents of the Yanjing God Chosen Academy, known as the Panlong Layman. This Lin Qianlong was also from the Lin family of the Magic City, and Lin Qianlong was the biological brother of the Magic City Lord Lin Aocean, and even the biological uncle of Lin Qingsu. Lin Qianlong and Lin Aocean, 2 brothers who lost their parents at a young age, were 20 years apart in age. Lin Aocean was almost brought up by Lin Qianlong since he was a child, but even so, the relationship between the 2 brothers was not harmonious, and even hostile. It was only because Lin Aocean wanted to join the army, but Lin Qianlong disagreed. After all, if both brothers joined the army and died on the battlefield, wouldn't his old Lin family be extinct? And Lin Aocean was also stubborn and insisted on joining the army. So Lin Qianlong roared, "It's enough for the Lin family to have me die." Then he broke one of Lin Aocean's legs. The 2 brothers turned against each other, but Lin Aocean, who was stubborn, still joined the army and killed countless enemies along the way and was named Bloodslaughter. Unexpectedly, he became the lord of the demon city by mistake and guarded one side. Then Lin Aocean got married and had Lin Qingsu. The 2 brothers hadn't seen each other for more than 10 years. Although Lin Aocean didn't like this disobedient and stubborn brother, he loved Lin Qingsu very much. Lin Aocean, this bastard. He knew that the people in the Yanjing command center were unreliable, but he dared to push all the main forces of the Magic City into the Zishan secret realm. If the Magic City is lost, if anything happens to my dear niece, I will break both of his legs. At this time, this absolute top leader of the God's Chosen Academy, a super powerful existence that made all races tremble in fear in the Void Cave, was actually fidgeting for the safety of his little niece. Deanlin, it should still be in time to stop the beast tide in the Magic City. You don't have to worry too much, and the Lord of the Magic City will definitely have a backup plan, right? At this time, a girl in a white dress and holding a long sword advised. The girl sat there quietly, but a layer of ice crystals lingered around her. It can be seen that the girl should be the God's Chosen who signed a contract with the Ice and Snow Strongman. What backup plan can a reckless man like Lin Aocean have? His brain is full of paste. It's all shit. Lin Qianlong cursed angrily. The ice crystal girl stuck out her tongue. The only one who dared to curse Lin Aocean was the old man in front of her. But my niece Qingsu is a lucky person. Naturally, nothing will happen to her. Lin Qianlong murmured. Then Lin Qianlong looked at the 2 students sitting quietly on the side. One of them was wearing grey-black armor, and there was an exaggerated Gatling 6-barrel machine gun on the back of the armor. If Suyu was present, he would definitely recognize that this armor was the famous war machine in the Marvel world. The other man, like a furious King Kong, was unnaturally red all over, and his whole body was wrapped in thick and strong missiles. He was huge, sitting there like a small mountain. And this person signed the Red Giant contract in the Marvel world. At this time, Lin Qianlong looked at the young man in grey black armor and said, Basin, this time when we go to Magic City, I will find a way to help you get the GD sword in Lin Aocean's hand. If the group of nerds in the science department are not wrong, your armor should be able to activate the sword. With it, your combat power will definitely be improved. As long as we can help Magic City repel the beast tide, such a great favor will surely not be rejected by that reckless man Lin Aocean. You are all carefully selected, 1 in a million monsters. The real artifact can only play the greatest role in the hands of geniuses like you. What kind of geniuses can Magic City have? It's a waste to put that sword here. Chapter 30 Uninvited Guests. At this time, the masters of the Magic City have retreated to the military camp to rest. Suyu and the other two also returned to their assigned rooms to take a shower and rest. At this time, in the military conference room, the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, was pacing back and forth in the conference room, looking a little impatient. The senior officials of the Magic City military department were also here. Isn't it a good thing that someone from the God's Chosen Academy is coming this time? Why does the Lord of the City look so worried? At this time, Wang Jinggang leaned over to Duan Fiyu and asked. Duan Fiyu also shook his head to indicate that he didn't know. After all, it is a good thing for the Magic City to send reinforcement and supplies from Yanjing. At this time, Zhang Debao and other veterans who knew the inside story were also a little panicked. Could it be that the old man is coming? Question mark. At this time, Zhang Debao asked weakly, the Lord of the City, could it be? At this time, Lin Aocean slapped the table directly. He roared, it's probably that old guy. He's here to suck blood. At this time, Lin Aocean supported his hands on the conference table, imposing, full of murderous aura. That old guy is either here to steal the sword, or he is here to steal people. At this point, Lin Aocean shouted outside, go and call Suyu over to me. The messenger hurriedly ran to call people. At this time, Suyu, Lin Qingsu, and Wang Panxi had already changed into the dark green uniforms of the Magic City Legion. Putting on the uniforms, Suyu's entire temperament had changed, with a sense of majestic and heroic. Although Wang Panxi had become more handsome, his bulging belly still made Wang Panxi look a little funny. Lin Qingsu had a head of black and shiny waist-length hair at this time. Because she had just taken a shower and had not been completely blown dry, the tight-fitting uniform further outlined Lin Qingsu's slender figure. Lin Qingsu in the uniform was even more heroic. At this time, Suyu and the other two were sitting on the sofa in a Suyu's room chatting. The three were discussing whether to go to the God's Chosen Academy in Yanjing or go out to see the world. At this moment, there was a hurried knock on the door. Captain Su, the city lord is calling you. The guard shouted outside the door. Fatty Wang opened the door, and Suyu stood at the door and asked, the city lord called me? What's the matter? The guard hurriedly said, I don't know, but the city lord's voice is very loud, and he seems very angry. Suyu was also confused. Angry? Okay, I'll go over now. Although Suyu didn't know why Lin Aocean was angry, since the city lord summoned him, he naturally had to go. After all, Suyu is now the captain of the Wolf Combat Team of the East City Defense Force of the Magic City. Fatty Wang was a little worried. Nothing will happen, right? What can happen to me? Suyu smiled. Forget it, I'll go with you. Fatty Wang said firmly. I'll go too. Lin Qingsu's voice also sounded. Lin Qingsu felt that with her around, her father would never do anything to Suyu. Suyu looked at the two people behind him and smiled helplessly. Okay then. The messenger naturally did not dare to stop them at all. The three people in the Wolf Warriors team, one is the reincarnation of the god of war Su Shen, one is the daughter of the city lord, and the other is also a beast that can transform at the slightest disagreement. These three are now the heroes of the entire Magic City Defense Corps. If they offend them, they will not be able to stay in the Magic City Corps in the future. Soon, Suyu and the other two followed the messenger to the conference room. Suyu stood in the front, Linkingsu stood behind Suyu, and a pretty and delicate little face appeared from Suyu's shoulder, while Fatty Wang hid in the corner. "My dear daughter, why are you here too?" At this time, Lineocean was shocked. His precious daughter seems to be different from Suyu. Question mark? Why does it feel that his precious daughter has become Suyu's little follower? Question mark? How can this be? Question mark? Even his father doesn't have this kind of treatment. Then, Lineocean stared at Suyu with a very dangerous look. In that case, then come in. As soon as Lineocean finished speaking, he saw a round figure, like a smaller version of Zhang Debio, coming in. Looking at the suddenly appearing Fatty Wang, Lineocean felt helpless. Why are you, a little fat guy, here to join in the fun? Why are these three little guys inseparable? At this time, Fatty Wang also pretended to be innocent and said, "Didn't you, the city lord, let us all come in?" At this time, Lineocean couldn't do anything about this shameless little fat guy, and just looked at Zhang Debio on the side. Lineocean felt more and more that the shameless ability of Fatty Wang was more and more similar to that of the big fat guy Zhang Debio. Zhang Debio also had an innocent face, as if saying that it had nothing to do with me. At this time, Lineocean also looked at the three young men in front of him in silence. "Come on, sit down. There are things I want to tell you, and these things are related to you. Especially Suyu." At this time, Lineocean sat in the first seat and tapped the table with his fingers. Suyu and the other two also sat obediently in the empty seats beside them. Suyu glanced around and found that almost all the high-ranking officials of the Magic City Military Department were there, and the several military officials that Suyu and the other two had dealt with were all present. "Something related to us? What exactly does the Lord City Lord mean?" Suyu asked in confusion. At this time, Lineocean had a look of helplessness on his face, and then he gave Zhang Debio a look. "Zhang Debio, you go and talk to them." At this time, Zhang Debio also sighed, and then said, "I called you here this time, because there is good news and bad news. I don't know which one you want to hear first." Seeing that Zhang Debio was keeping it in suspense, Suyu said directly, "Of course we will hear the good news first, and we won't hear the bad news." After hearing what Suyu said, Zhang Debio naturally understood that Suyu was blaming him for keeping it in suspense, so he had to say, "The good news is that the Yanjing Chosen Academy has sent people, that is, the Yanjing investigation team. They are here to select the geniuses and monsters among the chosen. This time, it is almost certain that the three of you will join the Chosen Academy. Isn't it just changing the place to go to school? How is this good news?" Fatty Wang pouted and complained at this time. Zhang Debio ignored him and continued, "The Yanjing inspection team came here this time. Selecting talents should be only one of their purposes. Their most important purpose should be to come for the Zishan secret realm." Zhang Debio said with a serious face at this time. "Zishan secret realm? GD sword?" At this time, Suyu also instantly figured out the reason. Zhang Debio nodded when he heard it. Since ancient times, money has moved people's hearts. When they learned that Lineocean successfully took the GD sword from the Zishan secret realm, many people in Yanjing must have been restless. This time, the Yanjing inspection team is nominally supporting the Magic City and recruiting students for the God's Chosen Academy, but the real purpose should be for your sword. Everyone in the Magic City Guard Corps knew that the City Lord gave the GD sword to their great hero Suyu. At this time, when they heard that the Yanjing inspection team came to snatch Suyu's sword, everyone couldn't sit still. After all, in everyone's heart, Suyu is one of them. Outsiders come to snatch their own things, which means they are snatching all of their things. These bastards. How dare they steal my benefactor's things? Whoever dares to touch my benefactor's things, I will definitely fight to the death. Fang Wenzi was furious at this time. He smashed the sword behind him onto the table. "This is our territory, they'd better think twice." At this time, Red Rose also had a dangerous smile on her face. "This group of people is too much." Wang Jinggang also cursed. Liu Dahuandu and Fiayu beside him also nodded. At this moment, a huge engine roar sounded from the sky. Lineocean slowly stood up. Uninvited guests. Here they come. Chapter 31. The unkindness of the visitors. In the camp of the Magic City Defense Army, a huge grey-black transport plane was slowly landing. The Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, was in the conference room, and Zhang Debio led a group of high-ranking military officials to welcome them. The huge airwave blew up the dust, and blew up everyone's hair. The entire Magic City welcoming team was not as excited and happy as the Yanjing inspection team imagined. Everyone's face was not filled with gentle and excited smiles, but instead with disgust and even a little hostility. After all, in the eyes of these Magic City high-level officials, this Yanjing inspection team came for Suyu. At this critical moment, someone actually wants to bully Suyu. Question mark? That is bullying all of them! Exclamation mark. At this time, Suyu has become a little darling in the eyes of this group of Magic City masters. Someone wants to bully everyone's little darling. Sorry, my group of masters in the Magic City are not easy to mess with. At this time, the giant transport plane finally landed, the giant hatch on the belly opened, and several figures slowly walked down. The old man in the lead held a pan-long staff, dressed in white robes, and looked like an immortal. 2 men and 1 woman followed behind him. Seeing the recognizable pan-long staff, Zhang Debio's face changed immediately. What you fear will come true. I didn't expect that the vice president of the chosen academy, Lin Xianlong, who is known as Pan Long Layman, would lead the team in person. This is really a bit difficult to deal with. When Lin Xianlong got off the plane, he looked at the people in the welcoming team in front of him with disgust and hostility. Lin Xianlong was suddenly confused and puzzled. How did I provoke them? They turned their faces away as soon as I got off the plane. Exclamation mark. We are the Yanjing inspection team. Wherever we go, there are gongs and drums. Firecrackers are blasting. Question mark. Why is it that when we arrive in the Magic City, all we see are cold and dead faces? Question mark. Although Zhang Debio didn't like this group of inspection teams that came for no reason, as the representative of the city lord, he still forced a smile, walked forward and bowed, saying, I didn't expect that Senior Lin would come. I'm sorry for not welcoming you. Please forgive me. Zhang Debio had a fake smile on his face at this time, and he was as perfunctory as he could be. Lin Xianlong didn't care about that at this time, and hurriedly asked, what's going on? Why was the beast tide repelled so quickly? When did your Magic City have a master of swordsmanship? The reason why Lin Xianlong was so excited was that when they flew over the Magic City, the scene of the tragic battle they imagined did not appear. Instead, the corpses of ferocious beasts were everywhere outside the Great Wall of the Magic City. A rough look showed that there were tens of thousands of them. Originally, Lin Xianlong and his party had prepared for a big battle as soon as they arrived in the Magic City. For example, Zhang Beizhen, who signed a contract with War Machine, had already put on his armor in advance. But once they arrived at the Magic City, the experts from Yanjing were dumbfounded. Where was there a living beast within a radius of tens of kilometers from the Magic City? Question mark. They were all slaughtered. The remains of beasts were everywhere. Moreover, on the way here, Lin Xianlong and others clearly saw with their own eyes a large group of people busy dismembering 5 third-level Thunder Flame Winged Eagles with a wingspan of tens of meters. On the ground below those corpses, there was a deep and terrifying sword mark that was tens of meters long. And from Lin Xianlong's experienced eyes, these 5 Thunder Flame Winged Eagles were all killed by a sword. Kendo Master! Exclamation mark. The entire Yanjing inspection team was shocked, because Lin Xianlong knew clearly that Lin Aocean, the reckless man, was only good at hand-to-hand combat, and would never use a sword. So there was only one possibility, that is, there was a Kendo Master in the Magic City. A Kendo Master at the level of a Kendo Master. But what puzzled the inspection team was that they had never heard of such a Kendo Master in the Magic City. Exclamation mark. At this time, Lin Xianlong's heart was filled with shock and confusion. The Yanjing inspection team, who were originally preparing to show their skills on the battlefield of the Magic City, were dumbfounded when they arrived in the Magic City. They were late. It took more than half an hour for the transport plane to fly from Yanjing to the Magic City at full speed. In other words, the Magic City army not only slaughtered tens of thousands of beasts including 5 third-level beasts within half an hour, They even solved the Zishan secret realm and snatched the desperate sword. Question mark? This record seemed too incredible. Lin Qianlong couldn't believe it at this time. Such a big victory was actually caused by his reckless brother. Could it be that the reckless man finally got it? At this time, Lin Qianlong was also in self-doubt. What Lin Qianlong didn't know was that the reckless man Lin Aoshan really bet all the masters of the magic city in the Zishan secret realm. And the Great Wall of the Magic City was also in an embarrassing situation, where there were no masters available. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of Suyu, the monster, the Magic City would have become a ruin by now. Zhang Debao naturally understood, while Lin Qianlong was shocked. But before Zhang Debao could speak, a clear and surprised female voice rang out, "Grandpa." The girl in white holding a long sword ran out from behind Lin Qianlong and threw herself into the arms of Fang Wenxi, who was standing next to Zhang Debao. Fang Wenxi had a cold face at this time, but when he saw his good granddaughter, he smiled at this moment. "Wana, why are you back?" This girl was the white-clothed female swordsman Fang Wana brought back by Lin Qianlong. In the tragedy that year, only Fang Wana in the Fang family survived because she was hidden in an iron barrel by her mother. It can be said that Fang Wana is Fang Wen's only relative in this world. "Grandpa, I heard that the demon capital was attacked by ferocious beasts, so I followed the dean and rushed here to see if I could help, but later I found that it seemed to be too late." Fang Wana explained at this time. "Haha, we finished a long time ago. We are preparing to have a celebration banquet." Fang Wenxi also laughed heartily at this time. The scene of the grandfather and grandson meeting immediately attracted everyone's attention. The people of the Yanjing inspection team, especially Lin Qianlong, saw at a glance that Fang Wenxi was full of sword energy. Although he did not reveal the slightest breath on the surface, if you carefully sense it, you will find the vast sword energy in Fang Wenxi's body. Like a volcano that is calm on the surface, but in fact it may erupt at any time. Master of Sword Dao? At this time, Lin Qianlong was also full of surprise. "I didn't expect that after not seeing you for many years. Lao Fang has now entered the realm of Master of Sword Dao. No wonder. No wonder. Presumably, those 5 Thunder Flame Winged Eagles should be Fang Wenxi. Oh no, now we should call him Master Fang, his handiwork." Lin Qianlong also had a look of understanding at this time. At this time, Fang Wenxi has been promoted to Master of Sword Dao, so everything that happened outside the Magic City can be explained. However, to be able to kill 5 Thunder Flame Winged Eagles with force, Fang Wenxi must have paid a huge price. At this time, Lin Qianlong smiled and sighed. "Lin Aoshan, this reckless man, is really lucky. He has a sword master under his command." At this time, Fang Wana was also a little shocked looking at her grandfather. Fang Wana knew that her grandfather had been stuck in a bottleneck for many years. Unexpectedly, after not seeing him for 2 years, her grandfather suddenly broke through. Although Fang Wenxi was very gentle to his granddaughter at this time, he was very rude to Lin Qianlong. After all, Fang Wenxi understood that the old man in front of him came for the sword of his benefactor Suyu. In Fang Wenxi's heart, only Suyu was qualified to own this GD sword. Anyone who was not good for his benefactor Suyu was his enemy. Fang Wenxi smiled contemptuously. "Oh, I don't deserve the praise of Dean Lin." And when the demon city was besieged by ferocious beasts, Fang was not in the demon city. As soon as these words came out, Lin Qianlong was stunned on the spot. Zhang Beizhen and Sukuang, who were standing silently behind Lin Qianlong, also looked at each other in shock. "Not Fang Wenxi? Question mark? Who is that? Could it be that there is another sword master in the demon city?" Chapter 32. Brothers are jealous of each other when they meet. At this time, in the barracks of the Magic City Guard Corps, the people of the Magic City military had a contemptuous smile on their faces, while the people of the Yanjing inspection team were shocked. When the war broke out, you were not in the Magic City. Doesn't that mean that the sword master guarding the Magic City at that time was someone else? At this time, even Lin Qianlong seemed a little unbelievable, and the accompanying personnel of the Yanjing inspection team had naturally been stunned. As we all know, the way of sword, although it is decisive and powerful, but practicing the way of sword is extremely difficult. To make progress, not only does it require extremely high talent, but also requires hard work. This is why there are few masters who practice sword, but there is only 1 in 10,000 who can be called a sword master. Not to mention a sword master above it, even the sword fairy and sword god. On the battlefield, the sword master is no different from a UN general. Even the power of a sword master is enough to rival a nearly 1,000-man army. At this time, Lin Qianlong was also shocked. 2 sword masters appeared in the territory of the Magic City at the same time. Doesn't that mean that Lin Aotian has a reason not to give it to him when he came to ask for the GD sword this time? But then Lin Qianlong thought that, even if there were sword masters in the Magic City, they should not be able to activate and use the GD sword. Since it cannot be used, the GD sword should still fall into Zhang Beisun's hands. Thinking of this, Lin Qianlong was relieved. So he gave Zhang Beisun behind him a reassuring look. Then Lin Qianlong smiled and said to Zhang Debao in front of him, Captain Zhang, this time I'll lead the Yanjing inspection team to come here to discuss important matters with Lin Aotian, that bastard, Lin City Lord. I wonder where Lin City Lord is now? Zhang Debao was relieved when he heard this. Let's leave this difficult old guy to the City Lord to deal with. Oh, the City Lord has been waiting in the conference room for a long time. Please follow me. Zhang Debao hurriedly led the way in front of him. When the Yanjing inspection team passed through the crowd of people from the Magic City Military Department, they felt the dangerous gazes from everyone in the Magic City Military Department. The Yanjing inspection team felt a chill in their hearts and wondered. They didn't understand why these people from the Magic City Military Department stared at them with a look of wanting to kill them. Suyu and the other 2 had been hiding quietly behind the crowd from the beginning to watch the excitement. Now they also caught up with the crowd. Finally, everyone gathered in the conference room again. On the main seat in the conference room, the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aotian, sat there with a big horse and a golden knife. Vice President Lin, I haven't seen you for many years. Are you still alive? At this time, Lin Aotian started to greet his elder brother Lin Qianlong with concern. Lin Qianlong was naturally moved and hurriedly said, City Lord Lin, you are a reckless man who seeks death everywhere, but you are still alive and well, aren't you? You are not dead. It's a pity to think about it. At this time, the 2 big men were quarreling with each other, and no one in the Magic City military and the Yanjing investigation team dared to speak. After all, this was a battle between the 2 bosses. Suyu took Fatty Wang and Lin Qingsu to hide in the dark and watch the excitement. The relationship between the City Lord and Dean Lin doesn't seem to be very good. Both of them have the surname Lin, and they were from the same family at least 500 years ago. Why is the relationship so bad? Fatty Wang whispered at this time. Suyu was also puzzled, and then asked Lin Qingsu, Qingsu, what's the matter with your father and this Vice Dean Lin? Lin Qingsu also said lightly at this time, not 500 years ago, they were one family, they are still one family now. Because the Vice Dean Lin you are talking about is my uncle, my dear uncle. As soon as Lin Qingsu finished speaking, Suyu and Fatty Wang were stunned on the spot. Then Fatty Wang was dumbfounded and asked in shock, what? He is your uncle? Fatty Wang's scream startled everyone. The atmosphere in the field stagnated. Everyone turned their eyes to Fatty Wang and the other 2, including Lin Aotian and Lin Qianlong. At this time, Lin Qianlong's sight was immediately locked on Lin Qingsu. Because Lin Qingsu looked so much like her grandmother, that is, the mother of Lin Aotian and Lin Qianlong, when she was young. At this time, Lin Qianlong was unusually nervous and stood up with excitement. Hey, that Qingsu, come here. Seeing that the old man who had fought with him all his life was like this in front of his daughter Lin Aotian felt bad in his heart, but he did not stop him. And Lin Qingsu also glanced at Suyu, and then obediently came to Lin Qianlong and called softly, Uncle. Hey, my good niece. If Lin Qingsu's voice just now was as thin as a mosquito, then the old man Lin Qianlong's voice in response was as loud as thunder. Everyone was shocked. Those who didn't know the truth before were completely stunned at this moment. It turns out, Lin Qianlong is actually Lin Aotian's elder brother. Lin Qingsu is actually Lin Qianlong's niece. The most surprised people in the scene were the group of people from the Yanjing inspection team. You know, in the God's Chosen Academy, this Vice President Lin is a terrifying existence that can stop babies from crying at night. Who would have thought that Dean Lin, who has always been cold, ruthless and serious, would have a flattering smile on his face at this time? Question mark? And the object of flattery is still a little girl. At this time, Lin Xianlong ignored the shocked eyes of the people around him, but carefully took out a box from his arms. Come, dear niece, this is the gift I brought you. Come and see if you like it. At this time, Lin Xianlong had a gentle smile on his face. This scene made the people in the Yanjing inspection team tremble in their hearts. Even Zhang Basin and Sukuang, who were used to big scenes, looked like they had seen a ghost. Lin Qingsu glanced at Lin Aocean beside her. Long Aocean couldn't curse in front of his daughter at this time, so he could only say gently, he gave it to you. Just keep it. Don't be polite to this old guy. He has a lot of good things. And Lin Qingsu looked at the two fathers and uncles in front of her who were like children, and felt helpless in her heart. She could only bow her head and thank them softly. Thank you, uncle. Hey. Don't be polite, my dear niece. Open it and take a look. Lin Xianlong was very satisfied with Lin Qingsu's attitude, and he liked this good niece more and more. This gentle temperament is exactly the same as Lin Xianlong's mother when she was young. And Lin Qingsu also gently opened the long and narrow box. As the box was opened, a strong purple light instantly bloomed from the box. As the light faded, everyone discovered that there was a purple dagger in the box. My dear niece, this is the short sword I killed in the Void Cave, in Yanjing at a huge cost. I then used the demon crystal in its body to ask the weapon master to forge it. It's called Purple Feather, and it's just right for you. As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere in the entire conference room suddenly froze. Panlong Lay Buddhist Lin Xianlong actually killed a 4th grade beast king single-handedly? Question mark? And he refined such a precious treasure into a weapon and gave it away so easily? Question mark? The people of the Yanjing inspection team were even more dumbfounded. You know, even Fang Wana, Zhang Basin and Sukuang couldn't even take a look at this sword before, but now it was given directly to Lin Qingsu? Question mark? And Lin Qingsu also thanked Lin Xianlong again. Thank you, I like it very much. Since you gave me this sword, can I dispose of it at will? Lin Qingsu asked with a well-behaved face. At this moment, Lin Xianlong felt that his heart was about to melt. How could he refuse? So he hurriedly said, I gave it to you, so it's yours. You can do whatever you want with it. Use it to peel apples, chop wood, or throw it away. As long as my Qingsu is happy. At this moment, Lin Xianlong's face was full of doting. Then Lin Xianlong's face changed, and he threatened everyone with his domineering attitude. I'll see who dares to say no. I'll smash his head. Everyone present didn't even dare to breathe. At this time, Lin Qingsu thanked Lin Xianlong again. Thank you. I really like this gift. Then, before Lin Xianlong had time to speak, Lin Qingsu turned around and looked at Suyu, who was a little confused. Then Lin Qingsu directly stuffed the sword box in her arms, including the box and the sword, into Suyu's arms. Lin Qingsu smiled sweetly and gently at Suyu. I have never had anything good to give you. Since you also use a sword, I'll give you this sword. At this moment, Suyu looked at the top grade dagger emitting purple sword light in his arms, and he froze in place. Chapter 33 News about God level armor. At this time, in the meeting room of the Magic City Defense Corps, you could hear a pin drop. What happened before was really beyond everyone's expectations. Everyone in the field was so shocked that they even forgot to breathe. Even the two big guys, Lin Aocean and Lin Xianlong, were stunned on the spot. Most of the people present thought they were used to big scenes. But now this scene, they really have never seen it before. The entire Magic City Military Department senior officials and the people of the Yanjing inspection team were all brain crashed. The development of the matter was more bizarre than everyone could imagine. First, the famous and highly respected Panlong layman Lin Xianlong, in order to please Lin Qingsu, directly gave away the treasure, Purple Feather. But this treasure, that made everyone present drool, was actually given to Suyu by Lin Qingsu in the blink of an eye. In just a few minutes, this treasure actually appeared in the hands of Suyu, who was confused. At this time, Suyu was completely dumbfounded. This was given to you by your uncle. Why did you give it to me? Question mark. And if you want to give it, just give it. Why do you have to give it in front of the public? Question mark. Why don't you just come to my room secretly on a dark and windy night and give it to me? Question mark. Now that this is going on, won't I, Suyu, become the target of public criticism? Exclamation mark. At this moment, Suyu could clearly feel the cannibalistic gazes of those people from the Yanjing inspection team. Ahem. Kingsu, this belongs to your uncle. This is a gift from him. How can I have the nerve to take it? And I already have a sword. You should use this, Suyu. At this moment, Suyu hurriedly refused, fearing that it would be too late to refuse, and he would be torn to pieces by this group of jealous people on the spot. Ocean. You useless guy. What's going on? You can't even protect my daughter. Lin Xianlong was furious at this moment, but Ua was directed at Ocean. This kid clearly didn't know what kind of magic potion he had given my good niece. For Kingsu's safety, why don't you quickly drag this kid out and beat him to death with sticks? At this moment, Lin Xianlong was very excited. This pretty boy actually dared to seduce Kingsu. His crime is unforgivable. Forget it. Let me get rid of this hateful little villain who deceived my niece today. As he said that, he actually picked up the Panlong staff in his hand. An astonishing pressure instantly filled the whole place. Old guy. Dare to act wildly on my territory? Try to move one. At this time, Ocean shouted directly. A strong bloody aura directly dispersed Lin Xianlong's pressure. Everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief, but at this moment the two big guys just got together. The atmosphere at this time was really tense. Both the Magic City military and the Yanjing inspection team were on guard. If they really started fighting, they, as subordinates, would naturally have to do him a favor. Ahem. Two seniors. Let me say one more word. At this time, Suyu saw that the two sides were about to fight. Both the Magic City and Yanjing were almost going to fight. So he hurried out to smooth things over. You little villain. How dare you have improper thoughts about Kingsu? I will chop off your 3 legs in a while. Suyu was helpless at this time and could only explain, Senior, you misunderstood. Kingsu and I are definitely not the kind of relationship you think. It's just because I saved Kingsu once when signing the contract in the secret realm, and Kingsu is a good child who knows gratitude and resentment clearly, so I wanted to give this purple feather to me just now, to repay you for saving my life. It's just that Kingsu wants to repay the favor. There is absolutely no other meaning. Suyu hurriedly explained at this time. Hearing this, Lin Xianlong withdrew his pressure and put down the raised Panlong staff. And Ocean also snorted and sat down. Seeing this scene, the high-ranking military officials in the Magic City and the people of the Yanjing inspection team were relieved. Fortunately, they should not be able to fight now. Clearly distinguish between gratitude and resentment. A drop of water is returned with a spring of water. Good niece. You are worthy of being my Lin Xianlong's good niece. Ha ha ha. At this time, Lin Xianlong also praised with a look of relief. Little evil thief, it turns out that you are the savior of my Kingsu. You really have a great favor to my Lin family. Although Lin Xianlong knew that what Suyu said might be true, Lin Kingsu's eyes could not deceive Lin Xianlong. Lin Xianlong could see that his niece seemed to have a good impression of the little evil thief in front of him. However, at this time, Lin Xianlong could not get angry and could only touch the ancient ring on his hand. Then a simple and broken jade pendant appeared directly in Lin Xianlong's hand. Good guy. Storage ring. At this time, Suyu was secretly surprised. Needless to say, this must have been taken from a relic. My Lin family has always been grateful. Since you saved Kingsu's life, my dear niece just said that you also use a sword. Let me give you this book sword in the stone to practice for fun, although I don't think you are good at using a sword. At this time, Lin Xianlong threw the broken jade pendant in his hand to Suyu. Suyu also caught it, and then took a look, and found that Lin Xianlong's eyes were still on the purple feather in his arms, and he immediately understood. Kingsu, this is a gift from Dean Lin as an elder. You must take good care of it, and cherish and be grateful for the elder's painstaking efforts. As he said, Suyu directly returned the sword box in his hand to Lin Kingsu's hands again. After listening to Suyu's words, Lin Kingsu also nodded obediently. Yeah, I will remember it. At this time, Lin Aocean and Lin Xianlong were both relieved to watch this scene, although they always felt that something seemed strange, but they couldn't tell where it was strange. When Suyu touched the broken jade pendant, Jarvis was suddenly activated. Sir, I detected that what you are holding is an information aggregation carrier from another plane. The information in it is likely to be related to the universe level armor created by Mr. Stark, Stone Sword Armor, and should be related to the activation of Stone Sword Armor. Sir, may I ask if Super Brain can be given the authority to automatically crack this thing? And Suyu was also shocked, whispering in his heart, crack. Carefully study the relationship between this thing and Stone Sword Armor, and by the way, organize it into detailed and straightforward information for me. At this time, Suyu was very excited. After all, this Stone Sword Armor is the universe level armor in the Iron Man universe. That is, the god level armor that can kill gods. If I finally activate this set of armor, I don't need to spend endless years practicing like other warriors, and I can directly have god level combat power. Although I don't know how powerful the Stone Sword Armor is, it must be beyond the 9th level strongman. At the same time, in the conference room, Lin Xianlong and Lin Aocean were arguing again. City Lord Lin, I heard that you led people to break through the Zishan secret realm and got a GD sword? If I'm not mistaken, none of you can activate the GD sword, right? Even Fang Wenzi and another sword master who has not yet appeared can't use it, right? Lin Xianlong said with a hint of mockery at this time. As soon as this was said, Lin Aocean and the entire Magic City Military Department senior officials all changed their faces. In fact, before meeting Suyu, no one could activate and use that sword. At that time, everyone thought that the sword was too old and rotten. But until Suyu picked up the GD sword, and then under the gaze of everyone, he easily chopped off Fang Wenzi's ultimate move, the spiritual cultivation giant sword. At this time, the Magic City Military Department senior officials realized, it's not a problem with the sword, but a problem with the people. But how did the people from the Yanjing inspection team know about this? Question mark. Then Lin Xianlong continued to say with a smug look on his face, according to the calculations of the science department of my chosen academy, this GD sword needs extremely powerful energy support to exert its true power. And now, I happen to have a candidate here. Do you choose to let this GD sword continue to be covered in dust? Or choose to give this sword to a real hero? At this time, Lin Xianlong's words were righteous and passionate. Seeing this scene, all the high-ranking military officials present in the Magic City had strange faces. Lin Aocean and Fatty Wang looked at Lin Xianlong with a look of looking at a fool. And Lin Aocean, who was excited and thought that his emotions had been set off, did not notice the strange atmosphere of the Magic City at all, and shouted to himself, Bazin, show your armor to everyone. And Zhang Bazin, with a cold face, also stood up, and then slapped his chest and shouted, War Machine. Invincible. Hearing this, Fatty Wang almost couldn't help laughing. Then a flash of light passed by, and a set of grey-black metal armor with a Gatling gun on the back appeared in front of everyone. Zhang Bazin raised his head proudly, and waited for the cheers and exclamations of the crowd. But after waiting for a few seconds, the imagined cheers and exclamations did not sound. At the scene, all the high-level officials of the Magic City military fell into a strange silence. At this time, Lin Xianlong saw that the atmosphere at the scene was a bit weird, and hurriedly acted as a commentator. Don't be too shocked. Although this armor named War Machine comes from Iron Man's armor, it has been modified to the most perfect. It is fundamentally different from Iron Man's waist armor. As soon as these words came out, the imagined cheers and exclamations not only did not appear, but made the faces of the high-level officials of the Magic City military even weirder. The scene was very embarrassing for a time. Chapter 34 The battle between the real and fake monsters in the Magic City of Yanjing. At this moment, Lin Xianlong suddenly felt a chill in his heart, and even Zhang Bazin, who had been arrogant before, opened his eyes in confusion. At this moment, the same thought emerged in the hearts of the two people, that is, something is wrong. This group of people seem to be a little bit wrong. At this moment, Lin Xianlong and Zhang Bazin looked at the strange expressions of the senior military officials in the Magic City, and always felt that they were looking at them with an expression of looking at fools. At this time, even the famous Pan Long layman Lin Xian Long's mentality had a subtle change. But in order not to show his cowardice, Lin Xian Long still spared this old face and prepared to brag for Zhang Beizhen. Everyone, don't be too shocked. This armor is a perfect upgraded version of Iron Man's armor. The power is not comparable to those useless armors of Iron Man. At this time, Su Yu's face was also a little ugly. What does this old man know? Still talking nonsense here. In addition to being a little stronger than the first 2 generations of Iron Man's antique machines, what other armor can the War Machine compare with? At this time, the faces of the Demon City high-level officials were becoming more and more strange. But Lin Xianlong, who didn't know the reason, was still praising, as if no one else was around. And the contractor of this perfect armor is this Zhang Beizhen. He is one of the monsters on the top 100 list of the God's Chosen Academy. He is extremely powerful. A few days ago, Zhang Beizhen relied on this armor to fight a second level high quality red flame beast alone on the desperate Great Wall for hundreds of rounds, and finally killed the terrifying second level high quality red flame beast. Hearing this, someone in the Demon City military finally couldn't hold on anymore. At this time, Wang Jinggang touched his big bald head and tried hard to hold back his laughter. He pretended to be a little puzzled and asked, Dean Lin, are you sure it is a second grade top grade? Seeing that the slow-tempered people in the Magic City finally began to react in shock, Lin Xianlong was very happy and hurriedly confirmed, yes, it is a second grade top grade. At this time, Fang Wenzi also asked with a very strange look on his face, did you really fight with the second grade top grade beast for hundreds of rounds? At this time, Lin Xianlong proudly answered, of course. At that time, our human hero Zhang Beizhen and the second grade top grade beast fought for several hours. The fight was so fierce that the sky and the earth changed color. The mountains collapsed, and the earth cracked. In the end, the terrifying second grade top grade beast was successfully consumed to death. You say that such a monstrous genius, such an outstanding hero, isn't he the best candidate to own the GD sword? In addition, he is also the only one who can activate and use the GD sword. In other words, you have no choice. At this time, Lin Xianlong was full of confidence. He said very proudly and firmly. Suddenly, a loud laugh rang out. Ha 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 ha. Oh, you old thing, you made me laugh to death, ha 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 ha. Finally, Lin Aocean, who was sitting in the first seat, couldn't help laughing. Then a stone stirred up 1,000 waves. The high-level officials of the Magic City Military Department all laughed out loud. And everyone laughed so hard that they almost went crazy. Almost all the high-level officials of the Magic City Military Department laughed out snot and tears. Wang Jinggang laughed so hard that he slapped Fang Wenzi's thigh. And Fang Wenzi had already laughed so hard that he couldn't sit still. Fatty Wang even rolled on the ground with his hands on his stomach. The whole conference room was in chaos. Even Lin Aocean, the lord of the Magic City, laughed so hard that he couldn't stand up from his chair. And Lin Qingsu, who was always cold-tempered, also laughed with her hands on her mouth. Seeing this scene, all the people in the Yanjing inspection team were dumbfounded. Is there something wrong with these people in the Magic City Military Department? Question mark. Is there something serious? Question mark. Shouldn't they show extreme shock and applaud at this time? Question mark. Why did all the people in the Magic City Military Department act as if they had heard a big joke? Question mark. At this time, Lin Xianlong thought that it was the people in the Magic City Military Department who didn't believe that a young man of only 22 years old could kill a second level top grade beast, so they took what he just said as a joke. So Lin Xianlong hurriedly explained loudly, don't laugh. I guarantee with my personality that what I just said is true. I'm definitely not joking with you. Maybe you don't understand the horror of Avildoers and you haven't seen real Avildoers, so you think what I just said is a fairy tale. But I promise that I'm definitely not joking with you. Zhang Beizhen, who had already fallen into self-doubt, understood in his heart after hearing Lin Xianlong's words. It turned out that it was because what he did was too evil and beyond the imagination of these country bumpkins in the Magic City, so they thought they heard a joke. Anyway, who made these country bumpkins in the Magic City never see a real Avildoer? At this time, Zhang Beizhen's expression became arrogant again. But what the entire Yanjing inspection team didn't expect was that after listening to Linneocean's serious explanation, the people in the Magic City military department laughed even louder! Exclamation mark. Linneocean almost got a stitch in his side from laughing. At this time, Wang Jinggang laughed so hard that he slapped the table. He laughed with snot and tears. Ha ha ha. Monster. To monster. Old Fang. Did you understand? He fought with a second level beast for hundreds of rounds. He exhausted the second level beast to death. Ha ha ha. To monster. I've never seen it before. And Fang Wen's beard was shaking with laughter at this time. He wiped a tear and said in a breakdown, to monster, exhausted it to death. Ha ha ha. He can fly, but the second level red flame beast can't fly. Maybe he was flying in the sky, and the red flame beast chased him on the ground, and threw fireballs at him, and ended up tiring the red flame beast to death. Ha ha ha. To monster. Genius. Genius. The people in the Magic City military department also laughed crazily and nodded. And the city lord Linneocean also said, while laughing and struggling, too monstrous, I have never seen such a talent. Ha ha ha, he is exhausted. Ha ha ha, a second level ferocious beast. Our Magic City is poor and has few talents. We really don't have any geniuses who can be compared with him. Really not. Ha ha ha. At this time, the Yanjing inspection team couldn't figure out what these people in the Magic City military were up to. Question mark? At this time, Lin Qianlong was already a little angry because Lin Qianlong had heard it. Everyone in the Magic City military, including Linneocean, was treating him as a fool. They were all laughing at him. How dare you mock me? What qualifications do you have to mock me? Is there anyone in your young generation of Modu who is worthy of Zhang Basin? As the saying goes, a proud army will be defeated. Although you have won an incredible victory, it does not mean that you can laugh at the real monster. Linneocean, I feel very sad and worried to see that your Modu military has been overwhelmed by the victory just now. Seeing that Lin Qianlong was angry, the laughter on the side of Modu was reduced. At this time, the Lord of Modu, Linneocean, held back his smile and said directly, after saying so much, I still can't give you the GD sword. At this time, Lin Qianlong was furious. What did you say? Do you want the GD sword to be covered in dust? There is such a monster in front of you. You are narrow-minded and want to take the sword for yourself? You must know that now only Zhang Basin can activate and use the sword. Linneocean, put aside our grievances. We can't cut off the path of young people. At this time, Lin Qianlong said very sadly. Linneocean smiled and shook his head, then raised his eyebrows slightly and asked everyone, what do you think of this son of tomorrow, Zhang Basin? Is he a monster? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 The Beast Tide is Coming, see Su Shen. At this time, in the meeting room of the Magic City Military Department, all the senior officials of the Magic City Military Department were smiling. On the other hand, everyone in the Yanjing inspection team was full of grief and indignation. At this time, after hearing the question of the city lord Linneocean, everyone in the Magic City Military Department shook their heads without thinking, shaking their heads madly. Is Zhang Basin a monster? Question mark? No, of course not. Especially Duan Fiyu and Eliulahu, who saw Suyu's fighting power like a god descending from heaven, shook their heads madly at this moment, and almost shook their heads off. Average, very average. At this time, Wang Jinggang touched his big bald head, and said in a tactful tone, it is indeed very average, slightly stronger than the average primary god chosen, but the word monster should not be reached yet. Zhang Daibao also added at this time. Fang Wenzi didn't give any face at all, and said directly, monster? Just him? What is he? How dare he call himself a monster? I think he is not even worthy of carrying shoes for my benefactor. A real monster never shows off. My benefactor is the real monster. Fang Wenzi cursed angrily, while turning his head slightly, and looking in the direction of Suyu with gentleness and awe. At this time, Lin Qianlong was scolded by this group of people, and he was so angry that he was about to have a heart attack. He had to cover his chest and said, You are really hopeless. You are too arrogant. Don't forget, Basin is just a 22-year-old child. He is just a child. A child can kill a second-level beast with his stomach. Isn't this a monster? At this moment, the whole conference room was silent. All the people in the military department of the Magic City looked serious. Yes, Zhang Basin, who was 22 years old, was just a child. Then what about Suyu? Question mark? Suyu is just a child who has just turned 20. Suyu, who helped the Demon City to hold up the collapsed sky, was just a child. At this time, all the people in the Demon City military looked at Suyu with surprise, guilt, kindness, and some indescribable emotions in their eyes. Yes, they only knew that Suyu was extremely powerful and had extraordinary combat power, but they seemed to have forgotten that Suyu, whom they regarded as a savior, was just a child. Let a child block everything for these useless old guys. They were ashamed. They felt distressed. At this time, many female senior executives actually began to wipe their tears secretly, and many senior executives suddenly had red eyes. Even the Lord of the Demon City, Lin Aocean, murmured blankly, yes, he is just a child. Alas, I'm ashamed. I just remembered that the benefactor was just a child. Let the benefactor help to bear so many responsibilities. I'm useless. I'm ashamed. At this time, Fang Wenzi also began to wipe his tears. Seeing these high-ranking officials of the Magic City Military Department, after experiencing the crazy laughter just now, they actually started crying again. Everyone in the Yanjing inspection team was dumbfounded. Lin Qianlong and Zhang Basin were also dumbfounded at this time. Could it be that these people in the Magic City Military Department are all crazy? Question mark. At this time, Suyu felt the gazes of everyone looking at him with emotions such as shame, guilt, heartache, apology, etc., and felt a little uncomfortable. At this moment, a shrill alarm sounded, followed by a voice broadcast. Alarm. Alarm. Satellites detected a large number of energy fluctuations 200 nautical miles in the East China Sea. The beast tide is coming again. Then the announcer's voice paused, and then tremblingly said, according to the judgment given by the intelligent brain, the intensity of this beast tide is 5th level beast tide. The female announcer's collapsed, and trembling voice echoed in the Magic City Military Department. After hearing the alarm, everyone present changed their faces instantly. No one could have imagined that the second wave of beast tide would come back so quickly. A 5th order beast tide? It seems that the beasts suffered a great loss in the previous battle to defend the Magic City in the battle for the Zishan ruins. Now they can't wait to get back at the front. Lin Aocean stood up. At this time, the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, was not panicked, and the Panlong layman Lin Qianlong was also calm. If there is only one 5th order beast king, I alone can deal with it. The rest is up to you. At this time, Lin Qianlong also said proudly, put aside the dispute for the time being, and first resist this wave of 5th order beast tide with all your strength. We came late in the last defense battle, and it's just right for us to have itchy hands. It's also a good opportunity for you people in the Magic City to see the style of the evil students of our God's chosen academy. At this time, Lin Qianlong knocked the Panlong staff in his hand. The Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, smiled mysteriously without comment, and then said, some people should see the world, otherwise they will be like frogs in the well. Everyone prepare for battle. Go to the Great Wall. Lin Aocean gave an order. All the high-ranking officials of the Magic City military began to leave the conference room quickly, but in an orderly manner. After everyone left the conference room, they saw the soldiers in the barracks carrying supplies to the Great Wall in an orderly manner, and batches of troops also clamored to march to the Great Wall in an orderly manner. At this time, everyone in the Yanjing inspection team couldn't help but sigh that the soldiers of the Magic City Guard Corps were all good hands. They were all in order and not panicked. Although there was a little fear on the faces of the soldiers, it was only a little bit, and they were more serious. At this time, several soldiers carrying artillery shells were chatting in the distance. Captain, do you think we can withstand this beast tide? Ha ha ha, are you scared? A shirtless middle-aged strong man laughed and scolded. I'm not afraid, and we still have the god of war here. At this time, the young soldier's eyes instantly shone. Captain, you don't know, at that time, the dozen beasts were very close to me. I thought I would be torn to pieces in the next moment, but in the next second, I saw God. At this time, the young soldier picked up a cannonball. You kid, are you scared silly? The middle-aged sturdy man sneered. No. At that time, the bone knife beasts in front of me raised their bone knives towards me. But the next moment, a ray of light shot down from the sky. Then the bone knife beasts in front of me instantly exploded into blood foam. I looked up and saw a god wearing handsome armor and holding thunder flying over my head. You kid, you are talking about Sushen, right? The middle-aged sturdy man said with admiration at this time. The young soldier's face was shining, and he said excitedly, yes, it's Sushen. I also remember that scene clearly. At that time, I saw the giant thunder flame winged eagle in the sky. That was enough to cover the sky passing through the sky. I was scared silly. But the next second, the third level giant beast was actually directly cut in half by the thunder god sword in Sushen's hand. At this time, another young soldier was full of admiration and yearning. At this time, another soldier was also very excited and said, yes, yes, I remember it too. At that time, the sky was full of blood rain. I stood on the ground in a daze, looking at the handsome figure in the air without even turning his head. At that time, I thought in my heart that being able to fight side by side with a war god like Sushen was the most proud thing in my life. Yes, fighting side by side with Sushen, I'm not afraid of death. Several soldiers nodded excitedly. Looking at these soldiers chatting excitedly, everyone slowed down their pace involuntarily. The entire Yanjing expedition team was a god-chosen one, so they were sharp-eyed and sharp-eared. Naturally, the words of these soldiers fell into the ears of everyone in the Yanjing expedition team. Who is Sushen? He also has a battle armor? Is he a kendo master? At this time, Lin Qianlong could no longer suppress his curiosity and asked Lin Aotian beside him. But Lin Aotian still smiled and said nothing. Could this Sushen be the sword master you are hiding in the dark? How terrifying is his fighting power that he can be called the god of war by the soldiers? At this time, Lin Qianlong couldn't wait to see the top master who was called the god of war. At this time, the soldiers who were busy carrying the shells also discovered Lin Aotian and his group. Then these soldiers hurriedly put down the shells in their hands and saluted, Lord City Lord. Then several soldiers suddenly saw Suyu, who was lowering his head and putting his hands in his pockets behind the crowd. Several soldiers' eyes widened instantly. Even their breathing became heavy instantly. Even the bodies of these young soldiers began to tremble because they were too excited. Then, under the stunned eyes of the Yanjing inspection team, several soldiers directly turned sideways, then turned to the left, then stood at attention, salute, then shouted with respect and excitement, meet Sushen. Chapter 36 The Power of Faith. The Awakening of the Electromagnetic Field. In the Magic City military camp, the soldiers' roars shook the world. All the people in the Yanjing inspection team were shocked by the soldiers' uniform and high-pitched roars. What they didn't expect was that there was even someone in this military camp who was more respected and admired than the Magic City Lord Lin Aotian. This prestige is comparable to that of the City Lord. When these soldiers turned around, the people next to Suyu noticed it and dispersed instantly. So at this time, only Suyu was left to face. Hello. Suyu could only smile and greet the excited soldiers in front of him. At this time, the whole military camp became quiet, and everyone who heard the shouts of these soldiers just now looked over here. Sushen. It's really Sushen. This time we have Sushen here, and the 5th level beast will die. Seeing Sushen, my heart suddenly settled down. Then everyone waved and shouted at Suyu frantically. The whole military camp instantly turned into a large fan meeting scene. The soldiers' excited cheers resounded everywhere. The scene at this time was not like the solemnity and tension before the war, but like a celebration party after the victory of the war. Suyu also knew to stretch out his hand and wave to everyone. Then, the noisy noise instantly turned into a uniform slogan. Sushen will win. The Magic City will win. Sushen will win. The Magic City will win. Sushen will win. The Magic City will win. At this time, Suyu was visualizing the shouts around him, and there was a strange feeling in his heart. Now Suyu has become the faith of the entire Magic City Defense Corps. At this time, Suyu also clenched his right fist and raised it suddenly. Win. Suyu also shouted, win, 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 win. At this moment, everyone, including all the high-level officials of the Magic City Military Department, shouted loudly. The fighting spirit of the entire Magic City Corps was instantly ignited. At this moment, Jarvis' voice rang in Suyu's mind. Become the faith in people's hearts. Faith power plus 10. Fusion degree plus 1. Current fusion degree 10%. Do you want to activate the skill? Electromagnetic field. Suyu was also stunned. Electromagnetic field is the electromagnetic released by the armor, controlling everything within the limited distance of the armor. In other words, within the effective range of the electromagnetic field, Suyu is invincible. Within the field, Suyu is the one who controls everything. Turn it on. Jarvis, what is the effective range and energy consumption data of this electromagnetic field? Although Suyu was extremely excited at this time, Suyu still had to ask about the energy consumption issue. After all, Suyu consumed a lot of energy in the last battle. The range of the electromagnetic field is within a radius of 20 meters, where the armor is located. Energy loss. Maintaining the electromagnetic field for 1 minute will consume 1/10 of the energy of the energy core. Hearing this news, Suyu's mentality collapsed. Doesn't this mean that, even if the power of the entire energy core is consumed, the electromagnetic field can only be maintained for 10 minutes? Question mark? Suyu was extremely distressed at this moment. You know, all the demon pills that Suyu obtained last time were used by him to charge the armor. After a lot of effort, the armor was fully charged, but now Jarvis told him that it could only maintain the electromagnetic field for 10 minutes. Use everything to exchange for 10 minutes of near invincibility. At this time, Suyu took a deep breath. Well, war is really expensive. I'm wearing armor and killing crazily, but I found that I can hardly pay the electricity bill. I'm so hard. Sir, please pay attention. After turning on the electromagnetic field, you will fall into a crazy killing mode. So if it is not necessary, I suggest you don't turn it on at will. Jarvis suddenly said at this time. Hearing this, Suyu was rarely silent for a moment, and then pretended to be relaxed and replied, I want to turn it on at will, but I don't have the conditions at home. Sir, please set the voice command to turn on the electromagnetic field. Jarvis's voice sounded again. Field turned on. Suyu thought about it, and said in his heart, the command is set, sir. I hope you will never need this command. At this time, Jarvis said one more sentence for the first time, and Suyu no longer answered, but nodded seriously. At this time, the Yanjing inspection team was already stunned. Lin Qianlong, who thought he was used to big scenes, looked at the young man in front of him with some disbelief. He has such prestige at such a young age. Question mark? It is obvious that Suyu's power in the Magic City Guard Corps is now comparable to that of Lin Aocean, the City Lord. Even better, is this kid the sword master who is hiding in the dark, and whose sword cultivation is comparable to Fang Wen's he? Lin Qianlong asked in surprise at this time. At this time, Fang Wenzi said directly and impolitely, what do you mean by comparable to me? Suengang's sword cultivation is not comparable to a waste like me. The gap between me and my benefactor is like a firefly and the sun and the moon. Fang Wenzi said seriously at this time. Lin Qianlong, if you dare to slander my benefactor again, although I can't beat you, I will definitely not let you go. Fang Wenzi looked unkind at this time. At this time, Fang Wana, who was following behind Fang Wenzi, was also stunned. Fang Wana had never seen her upright grandfather like this. And Lin Qianlong was also furious. I said he was the same as you. Is this slander? What kind of magic potion did this kid give you? Question mark. At this time, Suyu remained silent, just quietly following behind everyone. Soon everyone came to the Great Wall of the Magic City. At this time, the Great Wall of the Magic City was already a scene of great activity. Hundreds of giant cannons were being debunked, and hundreds of giant crossbows were also being repaired. Everyone was busy with their own affairs. At this time, the Yanjing inspection team was holding their breath. That third level thunder flaming eagle was really cut off by that kid with a sword? At this time, Lin Qianlong approached Lin Aocean without caring about his image and asked, "Is it true or false? Can't you just see it with your own eyes?" At this time, the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, said domineeringly, "Didn't you say that Zhang Basin is a rare monster? Why don't we compare it later to see who kills more beasts between him and our Suyu?" The Red Rose, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke. "Whether it's a mule or a horse, it has to be pulled out for a walk. What place is more suitable than a battlefield to show strength and talent?" At this time, the Red Rose Sword Lin Qianlong hesitated and continued, "Okay, let's see if you are bragging later." Lin Qianlong gritted his teeth and said at this time, "When the beast tide comes later, the two of us will do our best to lead the 5th level Beast King away. Fight on the sea. The battle with the 5th level Beast King must not happen near the Great Wall. Otherwise, it will bring a catastrophe to the soldiers. The remaining beasts will be left to them." Lin Aocean said seriously at this time. And Wang Pangzi also said domineeringly at this time, "Don't worry, you two. Leave this place to Suyu. I'm not bragging. With Suyu here, those below the 5th level are all ants." Chapter 37 The 5th level Beast King appears. After hearing what Fatty Wang said, Suyu, who was standing in the crowd, had a dark face. "This damn fat man. Don't bring me with you when you brag. Question mark. Below the 5th level, we are all ants. Question mark. What a joke." Although Suyu is in great need of demon pills now, he still knows the difference between killing demons to take the pills and sending himself to death. Among the masters of the Magic City military and the Yanjing inspection team, there are no less than 10 people with the strength of the 4th level. How can we show off blindly? Question mark. At this time, Suyu glared at Fatty Wang helplessly. But unexpectedly, the senior officials of the Magic City took it seriously and said, "In this way, our pressure will be much less. Thanks to God Su. Yes, my Lord Suen can hang me up and beat me, so killing those 4th level beasts must be as easy as killing dogs. You can relax. As long as my Lord Suen is here, the remaining beasts can't turn the world upside down." At this time, Fang Wenzi also said seriously without blushing or beating his heart. Suyu wanted to die at this time. "Damn it. You two bastards. Don't bring me along when you brag." Then the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, gently patted Suyu on the shoulder. "You kid, do a good job. If you can really kill a few 4th level beasts, then I can consider the matter between you and King Su." At this time, Suyu was completely dumbfounded. What is going on between King Su and me? Question mark. And even if King Su and I have something going on, isn't this request a bit too high? You are too kind, Lord, but I have just become the chosen one of God. It is not appropriate to give me such a heavy burden right away. Suyu explained with an attitude that he could not say anything final. But Lin Qianlong on the side snorted when he heard this. "You guys are bragging. You are almost blowing your own trumpet to the sky. Even if I'm a genius, I could only kill a 4th level beast alone 10 years after becoming the chosen one. And I lost half my life. Boy, don't lose your life just to pretend to be a master." Lin Qianlong also warned at this time. "How about this? I see that you are really interested in my King Su, so, 10. Lin Qianlong stretched out his 2 index fingers and gestured. "What do you mean by 10? Suyu asked in confusion at this time. "Of course it's 10 4th level beasts. As long as you can kill 10 4th level beasts, then I can consider the matter between you and King Su. But if you don't have the ability, then you should stay away from my King Su in the future. The farther the better," Lin Qianlong said while stroking his grey beard. Just as Suyu was about to explain something, Lin Qianlong suddenly shouted, "Beizan, come here." Then Zhang Beizan came over. At some point, Zhang Beizan had summoned the armor and put it on. The airtight armor only had the visor open, revealing Zhang Beizan's face. "Beizan, listen carefully. You only need to be responsible for the 2nd level beasts, and you can find a flaw to kill the 3rd level beasts when you have a chance. Be careful. After all, the firepower of your armor is extremely fierce. It is suitable for harvesting, so you must do a good job of harvesting." At this time, Lin Qianlong persuaded earnestly. Don't get too excited. Don't be like some people who don't even want to live in order to show off. Some people will not only lose face, but even their lives. Lin Xianlong said, and glanced at Su Yu. Zhang Beizhen nodded with a cool expression on his face. Su Kuang, you will activate the red giant contract later, and pay attention to protecting Beizhen. At this time, Lin Xianlong instructed the tall Su Kuang beside him. And Su Kuang also nodded. As for Wana, you will be responsible for guarding against those soldiers who are going to launch a sneak attack. Lin Xianlong reminded again. Fang Wana also nodded. At this time, the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, looked at Lin Xianlong's careful instructions on the battle plan, wondering if he should say something too. Then Lin Aocean coughed. Ahem. That, everyone will assist Su Yu in a while. When I'm not here, everything will be centered on Su Yu. Do you understand? And all the high-level officials of the Magic City answered directly, yes, Lord. The answer was neat and tidy. No complaints. After all, in the last battle, it was Su Yu who turned the tide. Since we won the first time, there will be a second time. The Yanjing inspection team looked at Lin Aocean and bet the entire army on the young man Su Yu, and they all expressed that they could not understand it at all. They just hoped that the defense of the Magic City would not be lost too badly this time. At this moment, above the East China Sea opposite the Great Wall of the Magic City, a thick rolling dark cloud floated towards the direction of the Magic City. Here they come. At this time, all the masters felt something and turned their heads to look at the direction of the East China Sea. Above the sky of the East China Sea, a huge dark cloud was pressing towards the Demon City with the momentum of covering the sky and blocking the sun. And the seawater of the East China Sea was boiling directly. Then, a huge and soul-stirring beast roar suddenly sounded. 2 red giant pythons flew out from the sea in an instant. And these 2 giant pythons with a length of more than 100 meters actually had wings on their backs. Silver-winged blood-scaled sky-swallowing python. At this time, Lin Xianlong also shouted in a deep voice. 2 5th-level beast kings. Blood-scaled king and silver-winged king. Lin Aocean's face also sank at this time. The most terrible thing still happened. 2 5th-level beast kings were sent out from the void cave in the East China Sea this time. Exclamation mark. If Lin Xianlong did not come to help, Lin Aocean alone would be unable to resist. At this time, Lin Aocean and Lin Xianlong looked at each other. Then he cast his eyes towards the direction of the East China Sea. There were 2 people standing on the heads of the 2 silver-winged blood-scaled sky-swallowing pythons. Did you see the person on the head of the giant python? That is the human form of the silver-winged sky-swallowing python. After all, the demon beast can transform after reaching the 5th level. At this time, Lin Xianlong said to Zhang Beizhen and the other 3 behind him. Su Yu and others also looked at the person on the head of the silver-winged sky-swallowing python with some shock. Then the 2 red giant pythons suddenly disappeared out of thin air. Only a man and a woman were left standing in the air. This man and woman looked no different from ordinary people, but they were both extremely handsome. The 2 wore long robes and long skirts, dressed like ancient warriors. The man's name was Bloodscale King, and the woman's name was Silver Wing King. Then the Bloodscale King, who turned into a man, spoke directly and shouted at the Great Wall of the Magic City from a distance. Lord Lin, today I, the dignified Bloodscale King, suffered a great loss at your hands. Bloodscale King, victory and defeat are common in the military. It's better to accept defeat. Lin Aocean responded domineeringly. Lord Lin, you should know that our original tacit agreement is that you occupy your Zishan secret realm, and I will go straight to the Magic City. This is fair and just, but I didn't expect that you also hit a kid in armor and broke the rules of the game. At this time, the Bloodscale King was angry, as if he had suffered a great injustice. Ha ha ha, Bloodscale King, do you think this city lord is playing a game with you? Only children make choices. I want both the Magic City and the Zishan secret realm. At this time, Lin Aocean clenched his fist with one hand and said loudly. At this time, the Bloodscale King has begun to get angry. It is you who broke the rules of the game. You must pay the price. I came here this time to ask you to hand over the kid in armor. As long as you hand him over, we will forgive the past. Otherwise, I will flatten your Magic City today. Let all the people in your Magic City be buried with my subordinates. At this time, the Bloodscale King suddenly returned to his original form. He opened his bloody mouth and roared at the Great Wall of the Magic City. The Silver Wing King, who had transformed into a woman, now set his sights on Zangbazon, who was wearing armor on the wall of the Magic City. Looking at the woman's cold and dangerous eyes like a venomous snake, Zangbazon felt a little uncomfortable and frowned slightly, but he did not show any fear. There is only one person wearing armor, and the style of the armor is almost the same as the description of the surviving bone knife beast. That person should be the rumored Suyu, but he looks ordinary, and I don't feel any danger from my spiritual sense. At this time, the Silver Wing King said to the Bloodscale King beside him. Then the Silver Wing King smiled charmingly. If this is a rumored Suyu, then today is a day we will flatten the Demon City. Chapter 38. I really envy you second generations. After hearing what Fatty Wang said, Suyu, who was standing in the crowd, had a dark face. This damn fat man. Don't bring me with you when you brag. Question mark. Below the 5th level, we are all ants. Question mark. What a joke. Although Suyu is in great need of demon pills now, Suyu knows very well that there is a clear difference between killing demons and taking pills and committing suicide. Moreover, among the masters of the Magic City military and the Yanjing inspection team, there are no less than 10 people with a strength of the 4th level. How can we show off blindly? Question mark. So at this time, Suyu glared at Fatty Wang helplessly. But unexpectedly, the senior officials of the Magic City took it seriously and said, in this way, our pressure will be much less. Thanks to God Su. Yes, my Lord Suen can hang me up and beat me, so killing those 4th level beasts must be as easy as killing dogs. Don't worry. As long as my Lord Suen is here, the remaining beasts can't turn the world upside down. At this time, Fang Wenzi also said seriously without blushing or beating his heart. Suyu wanted to die at this moment. Damn it. You two bastards. Don't bring me with you when you brag. And then the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, gently patted Suyu on the shoulder. You have a bright future, kid. Work hard. If you can really kill a few 4th level beasts, then I can consider the matter between you and King Su. At this moment, Suyu was completely dumbfounded. What is going on between King Su and me? Question mark. And even if King Su and I have something going on, isn't this request a bit too high? You are too kind, Lord. But I have just become the chosen one of God. It is not appropriate to give me such a heavy burden right away. Suyu explained with the attitude that he could not say anything final. But Lin Qianlong on the side snorted when he heard this. You guys are bragging. You are almost blowing the bull to the sky. Even though I was called a genius when I was young, even so, it was 10 years after I became the chosen one that I could kill a 4th level beast alone. And I lost half my life. You just became the chosen one, and you can have a 4th level combat power. What a joke. At this time, Lin Qianlong was almost laughing out of anger. Boy, don't lose your life just to pretend to be a master. Lin Qianlong also warned at this time. How about this? I see that you are really interested in my King Su, so, 10. At this time, Lin Qianlong stretched out 2 index fingers and gestured. What do you mean 10? Suyu asked in confusion at this time. Of course it's 10 4th level beasts. As long as you can kill 10 4th level beasts, I can consider the matter between you and King Su. But if you don't have the ability, then you should stay away from my King Su in the future. The farther the better. Lin Qianlong said, while stroking his grey beard. At this time, Suyu was helpless and just wanted to explain something, but Lin Qianlong suddenly shouted, Bazan, come here. Then Zangbazon came over. At some point, Zangbazon had summoned the armor and put it on. Only the face shield of the airtight armor was opened, revealing Zangbazon's cold face. Bazan, listen carefully, you only need to be responsible for the 2nd level beasts, and you can find a flaw to kill the 3rd level beasts if you have the chance. Be careful. Don't get carried away. Although the firepower of your armor is fierce, it still doesn't have much effect on high level beasts. At this time, Lin Qianlong persuaded earnestly. It was almost as if he had told Zangbazon that he only needed to clean up the miscellaneous soldiers. Don't get too carried away. Don't be like some people who are willing to sacrifice their lives just to show off. Some people will not only lose face, but may even lose their lives. Lin Qianlong said as he glanced at Suyu. Suyu. Zhang Baizhen still kept a cool expression and nodded. Sukuang, you will activate the red giant contract later, and pay attention to protecting Baizhen. At this time, Lin Qianlong instructed the tall Sukuang beside him. You must also pay attention to safety. After all, if anything happens to you, I can't explain to you. Yang Jingsu family. In the event of a life and death crisis, you can also activate the True Martial Emperor contract that comes with your Su family's bloodline. Although your fusion degree is less than 1%, it should be enough here. Su Kuang also glanced at Su Yu and nodded. For some reason, Su Kuang always felt that this kid named Su Yu looked very familiar. Su Kuang always felt that Su Yu looked a lot like his uncle, Su Zanshan, who was called Yanjing War God. Su Kuang heard from his family that his uncle and the daughter of the Mirren family, that is, his current aunt Mirren Zhu, did have a child. But the Yanjing Great Wall was breached, and the Su family was invaded by a 7th level Beast King. And the uncle's child also died in that war. Nobody was left. Awesome. Zhenwu Emperor. That is, your Su family has the contract of the 9 Heavens Demon Subduing Patriarch? Su Yu asked Su Kuang at this time. Su Yu didn't know why, but he felt that this somewhat dull Su Kuang was somewhat kind. Su Kuang nodded obediently and replied, in fact, as long as the gods chosen can improve the contract's compatibility to more than 70%, it can be integrated into the bloodline and passed on to future generations. Su Yu also patted Su Kuang's shoulder with emotion. I really envy you second generations. An orphan like me doesn't even know where my parents are, let alone inherit any talents. Su Kuang let Su Yu stand on tiptoe like a good child and patted his shoulder like an elder. Seeing this scene, everyone in the Yanjing inspection team was stunned. Because Su Kuang's hot temper is well known in the God's Chosen Academy. But for some reason, Su Kuang behaved like a good baby when facing Su Yu at this time. Lin Qianlong was also a little confused at this time, but he didn't think much about it. Instead, he continued to remind him, let's talk about small talk later. Now the most urgent task is to arrange tactics. Wanna, you are responsible for guarding against those miscellaneous soldiers who want to attack. Don't leave the main force. Lin Qianlong reminded again. Fang Wana nodded seriously. At this time, the Lord of the Magic City, Lin Aocean, looked at Lin Qianlong's careful instructions on the battle plan, wondering if he should say something too. Then Lin Aocean coughed. Ahem. That, everyone will assist Su Yu in a while. When I'm not here, everything will be centered on Su Yu. Do you understand? And all the high-level officials of the Magic City answered directly, yes, Lord. The answer was neat and tidy. No complaints. After all, everyone understood that in the last battle, it was Su Yu who turned the tide. Since he won the first time, there will be a second time. There bay Su Yu. It's that simple. The Yanjing inspection team looked at Lin Aocean and bet the entire army on the young man Su Yu, and they all expressed that they couldn't understand it at all. They just hoped that the defense of the Magic City would not be lost too badly this time. At this moment, a strong wind mixed with the smell of monsters blew from the sea. Across the Great Wall of the Magic City, above the East China Sea, a thick, rolling cloud was swept by the strong wind, and in the dark cloud there were also scarlet, strange lightning. Here it comes. At this time, all the masters felt it, and turned their heads, to look towards the East China Sea. Chapter 39 The Beast King appears, summoning a tide of beasts. In the sky above the East China Sea, a huge black cloud was pressing towards the demon city with a force that covered the sky and the sun. The seawater in the East China Sea also boiled directly. Then, a huge and soul-stirring beast roar suddenly sounded. 2 red giant pythons flew out from the sea in an instant. And these 2 giant pythons, which were over 100 meters long, actually had wings on their backs. Silver-winged blood-scaled sky-swallowing pythons. At this time, Lin Qianlong also shouted in a deep voice. 2 5th level Beast Kings. Blood-scaled King and Silver-winged King. Lin Aocean's face also sank at this time. The most terrible thing still happened. 2 5th level Beast Kings were sent out from the Void Cave in the East China Sea this time. Exclamation mark. If Lin Qianlong hadn't come to help, Lin Aocean alone would have been unable to resist. At this time, Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong looked at each other. Then he turned his eyes to the direction of the East China Sea. I saw that there were two people standing on the heads of the two silver-winged blood-scaled sky-swallowing pythons. Did you see the person on the head of the giant python? That is the human form of the silver-winged sky-swallowing python. After all, the demon beast can transform after reaching the 5th level. Lin Qianlong said to Zhang Baizhen and the other two behind him. Su Yu and the others also looked at the person on the head of the silver-winged sky-swallowing python in shock. Then the two red giant pythons suddenly disappeared out of thin air. Only a man and a woman were left standing in the air. This man and woman looked no different from ordinary people, but they were both extremely handsome. The two wore long robes and long skirts, dressed like ancient warriors. The man's name was Bloodscale King, and the woman's name was Silver Wing King. Then the Bloodscale King, who turned into a man, spoke directly and shouted at the Great Wall of the Magic City from a distance. Lordlin, today I, the dignified Bloodscale King, suffered a great loss at your hands. Bloodscale King, victory and defeat are common in the military. It's better to accept defeat. Lin Aocean responded domineeringly. Lordlin, you should know that our original tacit agreement is that you occupy your Zishan secret realm, and I will go straight to the Magic City. This is fair and just, but I didn't expect that you also hit a kid in armor and broke the rules of the game. At this time, the Bloodscale King was angry, as if he had suffered a great injustice. Ha ha ha, Bloodscale King, do you think this city lord is playing a game with you? Only children make choices. I want both the Magic City and the Zishan secret realm. At this time, Lin Aocean clenched his fist with one hand and said loudly. At this time, the Bloodscale King has begun to get angry. It is you who broke the rules of the game. You must pay the price. I came here this time to ask you to hand over the kid in armor. As long as you hand him over, we will forgive the past. Otherwise, I will flatten your Magic City today. Let all the people in your Magic City be buried with my subordinates. At this time, the Bloodscale King suddenly returned to his original form. He opened his bloody mouth and roared at the Great Wall of the Magic City. The Silver Wing King, who had transformed into a woman, now set his sights on Zhang Baizhen, who was wearing armor on the wall of the Magic City. Looking at the woman's cold and dangerous eyes like a venomous snake, Zhang Baizhen felt a little uncomfortable and frowned slightly, but he did not show any fear. There is only one person wearing armor, and the style of the armor is almost the same as the description of the surviving bone knife beast. That person should be the rumored Su Yu, but he looks ordinary, and I don't feel any danger in my spiritual sense. At this time, the Silver Wing King said to the Bloodscale King beside him. Then the Silver Wing King smiled charmingly. If this is a rumored Su Yu, then today is a day we will flatten the Demon City. The Silver Wing King and the Bloodscale King, who were in the Void Cave in the East China Sea, were undoubtedly afraid of the rumored Su Yu. But at this time, when they saw the man wearing alloy armor on the city wall, they immediately relaxed their minds. Just a stronger ant. That's all. How can he be as powerful as those surviving monsters said? Question mark? You know, the military strength of the Beast Corps in the entire East China Sea Void Cave is undoubtedly much stronger than the Magic City Direction Corps. Before, the Silver Wing King and the Bloodscale King deliberately used a surprise attack and used the strategy of luring the tiger away from the mountain, wanting to bite off a piece of meat from the Magic City, but they didn't expect something to go wrong. And all the surviving beasts who fled back to the East China Sea cave seemed to be talking nonsense. What they said was that there was a powerful existence like a god in the Magic City core, a monster who could turn the tide and reverse the situation with his own strength. Although the Bloodscale King and the Silver Wing King had doubts in their hearts, no matter what, they would never give up after suffering such a big loss. At this time, the Bloodscale King was also staring at Zhang Baizhen, who was wearing armor on the city wall, with a bad look on his face, and threatened. Lin Aocean, I advise you to hand him over obediently, otherwise, we will flatten the Magic City today. At this time, the Bloodscale King's hundreds of meters long python body also spoke human words. You want him? At this time, Lin Aocean sneered and looked at Zhang Baizhen, who was a little pale. Ha ha ha, then come and get it. I, Lin Aocean, will never stop you. As soon as Lin Aocean finished speaking, Zhang Baizhen's face suddenly changed. and Lin Qianlong next to him also had a black line on his face. Lin Aocean, the battle is about to start, so don't play with these two little snakes. When have we, the human race, bowed our heads to monsters? At this time, Lin Qianlong directly smashed the Panlong staff in his hand. Then a green dragon shadow flew out instantly. It blasted straight towards the Bloodscale King, who revealed his true form. At this time, the giant snake face of the Bloodscale King showed shock. 5th level Warlock. Then the Bloodscale King opened a huge snake mouth like a blood basin. A sound wave attacked the blue dragon shadow that was shooting over. Then the speed of this blue dragon shadow was suppressed in the sound wave visible to the naked eye, and then the blue dragon shadow gradually shattered. Only a cyan light wave hit the Bloodscale King. A small blood hole was pierced through the huge snake god of the Bloodscale King, but the Bloodscale King was immediately furious. That Suyu looks like nothing, but today my army of divine beasts is approaching. We must flatten the demon city. The giant python body of the Bloodscale King roared to the sky. Okay, let's flatten the demon city and capture Suyu alive today. I want him to suffer the pain of 10,000 snakes gnawing at his bones, and torture him slowly. Use his body to hatch the offspring of our silver wing Bloodscale Python clan. At this time, Suyu on the Great Wall of the Demon City felt helpless. This old mother snake is too vicious. She actually wants to hatch eggs in her body? At this moment, thunder flashed in the clouds above the two 5th level silver wing sky swallowing pythons. For a moment, the thunder shook the sky. The next moment, the bodies of the two silver wing sky swallowing pythons, which were more than 100 meters long, were directly entangled. Then the two silver wing sky swallowing pythons formed a huge circle. Today, no one can stop my divine beast army. We will definitely flatten the demon city. Instantly, a giant thunderbolt from the dense dark clouds fell. In the huge circle, formed by the two silver-winged swallowing pythons, a complex scarlet inscription lit up directly. Summoning array. They are going to summon a beast tide. At this time, Lin Qianlong's eyes also focused. The next moment, countless black mists poured out from the summoning array. Instantly, they directly swallowed the two giant pythons. The beast tide is coming. As Lin Aocean's voice fell, the roars of countless ferocious beasts instantly came out from the black mist. Chapter 40. The terrifying beast tide is coming. The electromagnetic field is activated. At this moment, outside the Great Wall of the Demon City, the roars of the Silver Wing King and the Bloodscale King resounded through the heavens and the earth. All troops attack. Destroy the Demon City. The next moment, countless figures roared and rushed out of the black fog. The Demon City Legion. Prepare to meet the enemy. Lin Aocean also roared. At this moment, thousands of cannons were aimed at the dense black fog outside the Great Wall. The next moment, hundreds of siege beasts with a body size of tens of meters, carrying truck-sized boulders on their backs, rushed out of the black fog first. It's a high-quality 3rd level, silver-backed siege beast, Zhang Debao reminded loudly. Then hundreds of huge lion-bodied python-tailed red beasts also roared and rushed out of the black fog. The 3rd level python-tailed red flame beast. And at this moment, behind each 3rd level beast are hundreds of bone knife beasts. The black herd of beasts roared and pressed towards the Great Wall of the Demon City. Just when the Magic City Legion thought that this was the full combat power of the Fierce Beast Legion, a huge tiger roar sounded from the black fog. Then 100 giant double-edged saber-toothed tigers with huge fangs and a body length of nearly 20 meters rushed out directly from the black fog, howling towards the Great Wall of Magic City. The huge fangs, like a giant sword, glowed coldly. Seeing the double-edged saber-toothed tiger, Fang Wenzi burst into a murderous intent. It was this double-edged saber-toothed tiger clan that caused Fang Wenzi's family to be destroyed. But this is not over yet. The next moment, dozens of black giant shadows flew directly out of the black fog. These dozens of huge black shadows quickly crossed the sky like large fighter planes. Sharp cries resounded through the sky. Thunder Flame Wing Eagle. Among these dozens of Thunder Flame Wing Eagles, the leading 10 Thunder Flame Wing Eagles are extremely large. There are golden feathers on their heads, and the wingspan is also close to 100 meters. 4th level high quality. At this time, Zhang Debao looked up at the sky in shock. Finally, the black fog gradually dissipated, and the summoning array was lifted. The army of fierce beasts in the void cave in the East China Sea came out in full force this time. They are determined to flatten the magic city. At this time, Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong looked at Suyu and Zhang Beizhen. Now the fierce beasts have mistaken Zhang Beizhen for Suyu. This is an opportunity, Lin Aocean said in a deep voice. Zhang Beizhen lures the enemy. Suyu looks for an opportunity to kill them directly. Lin Aocean frowned and said, "Do you really believe this kid so much?" Now that the enemy is at hand, Lin Qianlong no longer quarrels with Lin Aocean. Lin Aocean nodded seriously with clear eyes. Lin Qianlong also sighed. "Since you believe him, I will believe him for once." Then Lin Qianlong looked at Zhang Beizhen. "Beizhen, listen to him. You pretend to be Suyu to attract the enemy and cooperate with Suyu to fight." Zhang Beizhen was silent for a moment and then nodded. "On the battlefield, orders must be obeyed." Then Lin Qianlong turned to look at Suyu again. "Boy, they all praised you to the sky. Although I still don't believe it, there is no way. Now we are facing a powerful enemy. We have no choice. I really hope you can slap me in the face with your achievements." Suyu was also a little nervous at this time. After all, he became everyone's hope and took on such a huge responsibility. Suyu was a little resistant in his heart. But now that the enemy is at hand, Suyu no longer said nonsense. "I will try my best. I only have one thing to say, that is, before I die, the demon city will never perish." After listening to Suyu's words, Lin Qianlong was a little surprised, and then he smiled with relief. "Well said, now I really believe you a little bit." At this time, Suyu also jumped onto the wall, looking at the dense and fierce beast tied under the Great Wall in silence. On the Great Wall, Suyu's eyes became more and more determined. The lapels of his martial arts uniform fluttered in the wind. Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong also looked at each other. Devil City. Fight. Then Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong no longer restrained their pressure, and for a moment, the pressure shook the sky. The next moment, Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong soared into the sky. The two rushed directly towards the Bloodscale King and the Silver Wing King in the distance. They wanted to move the 5th level battlefield away from the magic city and put it on the East China Sea. The next moment, Zhang Deibao waved his hand and suddenly shouted, "Fire!" In an instant, thousands of cannons fired at the same time. The sound of the cannons that shook the sky instantly covered everything. The next moment, countless colorful light arrays on the walls of the magic city shone. The flames and ice spikes summoned by thousands of warlocks also poured towards the beast tide. Tens of thousands of gods chosen who were bound to the warriors also jumped down the Great Wall directly along the ropes and directly faced the tens of thousands of fierce beasts. Fang Wenxi, Wang Jinggang and other masters of the magic city also directly faced the 3rd and 4th level fierce beast warriors. At this time, Zhang Beizhen, who was wearing armor, looked at Suyu with scrutiny. "I hope you won't let me down." The next moment, Zhang Beizhen's face armor closed, and the grey-black armor soared into the sky. At this moment, outside the Great Wall of the Magic City, the shouts of the human race and the roars of the beasts resounded through the world. And on the sea in the distance, Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong also faced the Bloodscale King and the Silver Wing King. At this time, the Bloodscale King saw the grey-black figure wearing alloy armor on the Great Wall of the Magic City soaring into the sky, and hurriedly shouted, "Attack Suyu first. No matter life or death." The beasts also roared in response at this time. And the entire Yanjing expedition team also followed behind Zhang Beizhen to escort. Then dozens of 3rd level Thunder Flame Wing Eagles in the air rushed straight to Zhang Beizhen in armor. In an instant, several thunders hit Zhang Beizhen. Zhang Beizhen barely avoided it. The Gatling gun behind Zhang Beizhen was also spitting out flames and grilly at this moment, but the bullets could not cause any damage to the few Thunder Flame Wing Eagles. On the ground, several double-edged saber-toothed tigers also roared and ran towards Zhang Beizhen. The Yanjing expedition team following Zhang Beizhen on the ground fought hard, trying to share some of the pressure for Zhang Beizhen. But at this time, several 4th level silver-backed siege beasts also threw out the boulders in their hands. For a moment, the boulders flew across the sky. Zhang Beizhen dodged hard and passed by a boulder. Although he was not shot down, the Gatling gun behind Zhang Beizhen was directly rubbed off and damaged by the boulder. At this time, Zhang Beizhen was like a lamb to be slaughtered. Looking at the terrifying beasts that kept attacking him, Zhang Beizhen's mentality completely collapsed. Zhang Beizhen trembled all over and stood there in a daze. The masters of the Yanjing expedition team on the ground were also surrounded by the beasts. The situation was extremely urgent. In a flash, the entire Yanjing expedition team might be destroyed. On the ground, Fang Wana, who was in the Yanjing expedition team, looked at the high-level beasts rushing in like a tide, with fear and confusion on her face. Fang Wana's tears fell silently, and she looked up to the sky and shouted in despair, "Suyu." The next moment, electromagnetic field, open. A light shout suddenly sounded. Everyone looked up and saw a figure in a mighty golden armor who had appeared in the sky at some point. Suyu finally appeared. Chapter 41, Sweeping the Enemy. Overlord Armor. Fusion. The sound of Suyu being blessed by the battle armor rang out above the 9 heavens. At the same time, countless violent thunders instantly spread out with Suyu as the center. The dense and violent thunders were like countless roaring thunder dragons. They instantly enveloped the Yanjing expedition team on the ground. The next moment, explode. In an instant, the terrifying thunder net spread instantly. The terrifying spherical electromagnetic net bloomed like a huge flower. Countless thunders instantly blasted around. The huge spherical thunder magnetic field exploded. The next moment, all the beasts within the coverage of the magnetic field were directly blown into blood foam by these countless terrifying thunders. At this moment, the Yanjing expedition team, whose bodies were splashed with the flesh and blood of the beasts, were all stunned. Everyone, including Sukuang and Fang Wana, stared blankly at the shining figure in the sky. At this moment, the Yanjing people saw Suyu, as if they saw a god. At this time, the entire Demon City Legion directly burst into huge cheers. Su God. Invincible. Su God. Invincible. Su God. Invincible. At this moment, the morale of the Magic City army was greatly boosted. Suyu made a move and directly blasted the group of ferocious beasts that had caused the entire Yanjing expedition team to fall into a bitter battle. This not only shocked the Yanjing expedition team, but also the 2 5th level beast kings. At this time, Lin Ocean, who was fighting in the sky above the East China Sea, slashed at the stunned Silver Wing King with a long sword. Then he laughed out loud. "Arsehole, the person wearing golden armor in the air is Suyu." At this time, the Bloodscale King roared, after forcing Lin Qianlong to retreat with one move. And Lin Qianlong, who was constantly controlling the shadow of the Azure Dragon, also sighed, "This kid is really good. Kill him. At any cost." The Silver Wing King, who was hit hard by Lin Ocean, also shouted hysterically, "All warriors, attack Suyu with all your strength." The 2 beast kings were furious, roaring and returning to the form of giant pythons. The giant tail swept across the sky. The angry roar resounded through the sky. At this time, countless 3rd and 4th level beast warriors, after a brief moment of shock, began to rush towards Suyu frantically. They all understood, if Suyu didn't die, they would not be able to flatten the Magic City. At the same time, the pressure on the entire Magic City army was instantly reduced. Hold them. Reduce the pressure on Suyu. At this time, Zhang Deibao held a giant axe and directly chopped off the head of a 3rd level red flame beast. Want to leave? At this time, Sukuang also shouted angrily, and then Sukuang's red right arm suddenly grew a circle. Directly punched a 3rd level red flame beast in front of him. Fang Wenzi has now become a master of swordsmanship, and at this moment he directly held a sword in front of a 4th level double-edged saber-toothed tiger. "Those who block my benefactor will die." The next moment, the sword energy was everywhere. Countless sword energies bombarded the double-edged saber-toothed tiger in front of him. At this moment, a 4th order thunder flame winged eagle with a wingspan of more than 100 meters opened its mouth and rushed towards Suyu at a very fast speed. No one had time to react. Suyu stood in the air and did not dodge. "Quickly retreat." Zhang Deibao shouted to the sky at this time. The next moment, in the eyes of everyone who was horrified, Suyu was swallowed by the 4th order thunder flame winged eagle. At this moment, everyone on the battlefield was about to burst their eyes. No. Fang Wen's eyes were red, and a sharp sword energy pierced out, directly cutting off the right arm of the 4th order double-edged saber-toothed tiger in front of him. The next moment, a sky-high sword energy slashed directly at the thunder flame winged eagle in the air. But it only scratched the wings of the thunder flame winged eagle. At this moment, everyone in the Magic City Legion had a heavy face. Ha 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 ha. In front of my 4th Order General, Suyu is nothing. Seeing Suyu being swallowed, the Blood Scale King laughed out loud. At this time, because Suyu was swallowed, the morale of the Magic City Legion fell directly. The Beast Legion began to gradually gain the upper hand. And just when countless people were crying, a miserable cry resounded through the sky. The next moment, a scarlet sword light of terror instantly crossed the sky. The next moment, the 4th Order Thunder Flame Wing Eagle with a wingspan of more than 100 meters was directly split into 2 halves, and the huge body fell from the sky with blood rain. At this moment, even the giant dark clouds in the sky were directly split into 2 neat halves by this shocking sword. At this moment, all the beasts were terrified, looking at the figure standing quietly in the air, holding a scarlet sword and wearing alloy armor. Everyone widened their eyes. GD sword. It's the GD sword. At this time, someone in the Magic City Legion shouted in surprise. Is that the legendary GD sword? It's so terrifying. At this time, everyone in the Yanjing inspection team also looked at the lightsaber in a Suyu's hand. The Blood Scale King on the East China Sea was shocked and angry. GD sword? Isn't that a useless sword? No way. How could that rotten sword have such power? The Silver Wing King didn't care about his injuries at this time and said angrily. At this time, the Lord of the Demon City, Lin Ocean, slashed with a knife. Nothing is impossible. How can you beasts imagine the blessing of my human race? And Lin Qianlong also waved the Pan Long staff in his hand, and 3 green dragon shadows circled around Lin Qianlong. No wonder you refused to hand over this sword. Now I think I was a little too much. Lin Qianlong sighed at this time. Now almost all the high-level beasts on the battlefield rushed towards Suyu, and the pressure on the human army on the entire battlefield was greatly reduced. And all the people in the Yanjing expedition team also tacitly chose to attack and strangle the low-level beasts of level 3 and below. At this time, 10 level 4 double-edged saber-toothed tigers formed a battle formation on the ground. They began to release sword energy towards Suyu in the air frantically. At the same time, in the dark clouds above Suyu, the remaining 9 Thunder Flame Winged Eagles also instantly released thick thunder to attack Suyu. At this time, Suyu had no way to avoid it. At this time, everyone was sweating for Suyu in their hearts. At this time, Suyu also shouted in his heart that it was not good. There was a world-destroying thunder above his head. There was a sword energy under his feet. Suyu pondered for a moment. In an instant, the thrusters under the feet of the armor were fully powered. Suyu rushed towards the several world-destroying thunders in the air at a very fast speed. The next moment, countless thick thunders directly bombarded Suyu. This was a joint attack of dozens of 4th level Thunder Flame Winged Eagles. At this time, everyone's face changed. Even the war on the East China Sea was temporarily stopped, and all tens of thousands of human races and fierce beasts were staring at Suyu. At this time, Lin Qingsu's pretty face was pale, and Fatty Wang also clenched his fists and looked at the sky motionlessly, being besieged by dozens of my warriors. This Suyu can be considered to die with his eyes closed. Ha ha ha. At this time, the Blood Scale King laughed up to the sky. Before the Blood Scale King finished speaking, a terrifying huge sword light condensed by thunder swept across the world in an instant. The dark clouds in the sky and the ground under the feet were instantly cut open with a huge hole. More than a dozen Thunder Flame Winged Eagles above Suyu and more than a dozen double-edged saber-toothed tigers under Suyu's feet were instantly turned into ashes in this terrifying sword light. At this moment, the whole world was silent. Before everyone had time to cheer and exclaim, they saw that the giant thunder sword in the air disappeared instantly, and the light on Suyu's chest in the air also dimmed directly. The next moment, the flame of the thruster under Suyu's feet went out, and Suyu fell directly from the sky. Seeing this scene, everyone was horrified. The Blood Scale King and the Silver Wing King on the East China Sea were extremely excited, and their eyes were red as they shouted, "Kill him quickly. He has run out of energy. Kill him quickly. Come on." At this time, Lin Ocean and Lin Qianlong wanted to rescue him, but they were held back by the Blood Scale King and the Silver Wing King. The remaining Thunder Flame Wing Eagles and double-edged saber-toothed tigers that had fled before also turned around instantly. Take advantage of your illness to kill you. At this time, Suyu had closed his eyes and came to the Stark base. standing in front of the huge door of the secret room with Veronica written on it. Anti-Hulk armor is too confusing. I will call you Overlord armor from now on. The next moment, in the Stark base, Suyu slowly pushed open the huge door. The next moment, Suyu, who was falling rapidly in the air, shouted softly, Overlord armor. Combine. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42. Do you think you can kill me? In the battlefield of the Demon City, Suyu's figure fell rapidly. Everyone who saw this scene was so shocked. At this time, Suyu's armor was exhausted, and the reactor on his chest that had been emitting white light had gone out. How could the beast miss such a great opportunity? Question mark? Almost in an instant, all the beasts nearby rushed towards Suyu as soon as possible. And all the human race also had red eyes, and they wanted to save Suyu madly. At this time, Suyu had dozens of double-edged saber-toothed tigers gathered under his feet, and 10 4th level high-quality thunder flame-wing eagles in the sky also opened their huge claws and rushed towards Suyu at a high speed. At this moment, a light shout sounded. Overlord armor. Combine. The next moment, Suyu's body instantly burst into an extremely bright scarlet light. The huge ball of light crossed the sky. For this sudden change, all the human races and beasts had no time to react. And the next moment, boom. A deafening sound came. The giant ball of light fell to the ground. The entire ground was shaking violently. A huge cloud of dust and smoke instantly rose from the place where Suyu fell. The huge shock wave instantly blew away the surrounding low-level beasts. Want to kill me? Suyu's cold voice sounded again. Hearing this voice, all the human beings present breathed a sigh of relief. And the next moment, the smoke dissipated, and all the creatures present were stunned. I saw a giant Eloi mecha that was tens of meters high, and looked like the reincarnation of the Overlord standing there quietly. The reactor emitting white light on the chest of the mecha was bright and dazzling. In the hands of this steel Overlord, there was a double-edged saber-toothed tiger king struggling hard by the neck. And at the feet of this giant Overlord mecha, there were several double-edged saber-toothed tigers that had already been smashed into rotten meat and blood foam. At this time, the few surviving double-edged saber-toothed tigers also directly wailed in fear and crawled away. Horror. Too horrible. At this time, Suyu, in the eyes of these beasts, was the real beast. Human Suyu. I beg to die here. At this moment, Suyu's battle cry resounded through the world. Do you think you can kill me? The next moment, Suyu, wearing the Overlord armor, threw the saber-toothed Tiger King in his hand directly into the sky. The next moment, the giant fist blasted out, and the trembling saber-toothed Tiger King was directly blasted into blood foam all over the sky by Suyu's punch. The blood rain fell to the ground. At this moment, all the human races were stunned on the spot, with their eyes wide open, staring blankly at the alloy mecha in the field that looked like the Overlord's arrival. All the creatures present were trembling. The human race was because of shock and excitement, and the fierce beasts were because of deep fear. The next moment, cheers that soared into the sky rang out. Su Shen is invincible. The Overlord is invincible. At this time, all the human races were shouting with heart-wrenching ecstasy. At this time, Fatty Wong was so excited that he almost transformed again. And Lin Kingsu was also staring at the mighty and domineering figure in the field with a gleam in her eyes. At this time, everyone in the Yanjing expedition team looked at Suyu's back in disbelief. They felt that their worldview had collapsed. Suyu's strength had completely exceeded the cognition of those who were used to seeing genius monsters. Too terrible. At this time, Su Kuang stared at Suyu's back blankly. This kind of fighting contempt for everything, the domineering momentum, except for my uncle, only this Suyu can give me this shocking feeling to the point of collapse. Yes, your uncle is a Yanjing god of war. I think after this battle, this Suyu should be the god of war in the Magic City. But how old is this Suyu? At this time, Fang Wana also said in disbelief. Such a terrifying talent and strength is enough to be comparable to those 7-star monsters in the top 10 of the God's Chosen Academy. At this time, Zhang Beizhen also landed next to Fang Wana and said, Yes, I think Suyu should be able to fight against the strongest monsters of Bailey Meekin. Fang Wana also said at this time. Su Kuang and Zhang Basin nodded involuntarily. The Yanjing God's Chosen Academy has a list of geniuses, which are all geniuses among the God's Chosen. The levels of these geniuses are also different. They are ranked from 1 star to 9 stars according to the conditions of combat power, potential, and character. Zhang Basin and the other 2 are the weakest 1-star monsters on the list of monsters. And now the strongest person in the God's Chosen Academy is the daughter of the Yanjing Bailey family, a 7-star monster who is only 19 years old. Bailey Meekin, known as the Super Electromagnetic Dun. At this time, the strength displayed by Suyu, in the hearts of Zhang Basin and the other 2, is almost comparable to the monsters, like Bailey Meekin. At this time, above the East China Sea, the faces of the Blood Scale King and the Silver Wing King were so gloomy that water could drip out. Why have I never seen this person before? Is he a monster from the Yanjing God's Chosen Academy monster list? At this time, the Blood Scale King and the Silver Wing King were directly frightened by Suyu's violent combat power like a god descending from heaven. The human race actually has such a monster? Question mark? Is he a 5-star monster? Or 6-star? 7-star? The Blood Scale King asked Lin Aocean with a ferocious look. At this time, Lin Aocean was naturally shocked by Suyu's performance just now, but now in front of the enemy, Lin Aocean could only pretend to be calm and said calmly, who are you looking down on? Suyu is the strongest monster I begged from Yanjing. You still ask me if he is 6-star or 7-star? To tell you the truth, Suyu. But he is a genuine 9-star monster. At this time, Lin Aocean boasted without blushing. Lin Qianlong on the side instinctively wanted to complain. What about a 9-star monster? Since the establishment of the God's Chosen Academy, there has never been a 9-star monster. The strongest person in the history of the God's Chosen Academy should be the 8-star monster back then. Today's Yanjing God of War, Su Zenshan of the Su family. At this time, Lin Qianlong had no doubt that, if Suyu was given a chance, he would probably reach the level of a 6-star demon or even a 7-star demon in 10 years, but a 9-star demon was too far-fetched. Who was he? Suyu. Although he was a demon. But what qualifications did he have to compare with Su Zenshan? Thinking of this, Lin Qianlong was slightly stunned. Why are all these fierce men surnamed Su? Could it be that these 2 fierce men have some relationship? At this time, on the surface of the East China Sea, although Lin Qianlong knew that Lin Aocean was talking nonsense, how could the 2 honest and simple Beast Kings, Blood Scale King and Silver Wing King, know it? Question mark? Silver Wing King and Blood Scale King had already been shocked by Suyu's amazing fighting power. Even if someone said that Suyu was the reincarnation of the 9 Heavens Demon Masters and Wu Emperor, they would believe it. There was no way. This Suyu was too fierce. At this moment, another explosion sounded in the battlefield. A huge siege beast was blown into blood foam by Suyu's iron fist. At this time, the entire battlefield almost became Suyu's slaughterhouse. With one punch, even a 4th level beast would explode into blood foam. The entire army of beasts was completely panicked. At this time, the Blood Scale King and the Silver Wing King looked at each other, and a trace of viciousness and determination flashed across their faces. We must not let this person grow up. Chapter 43, The Giant Python Strengthens the Dragon. The Overlord Giant Sword appears. Outside the battlefield of the Demon City, the mighty army of murderers has now become a lost dog. At this time, Suyu was like a peerless demon god, covered in blood. The human army also followed behind Suyu, madly slaughtering the ferocious beasts that had already been frightened. At this time, above the surface of the East China Sea, the Blood Scale King and the Silver Wing King had already flashed a look of determination on their faces. The next moment, 2 silver-winged blood-scale swallowing sky pythons looked up to the sky and howled. The shrill roar instantly attracted everyone's attention. Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong also frowned at this time, because they could clearly sense that the breath of these 2 beast kings was getting stronger and stronger. At this time, everyone saw that 2 giant pythons with a length of hundreds of meters, and their bodies were swollen, and the backs of these 2 giant pythons were also high. It seemed that something was about to get out of their bodies. Not good. They are forcibly turning into dragons. At this time, Lin Aocean's face changed. "Stop them!" Lin Qianlong also shouted suddenly at this time. The next moment, the snakeskin on the backs of the two silver-winged blood-scaled sky-swallowing pythons exploded directly. At this time, a pair of ugly and ferocious claws stretched out strangely from the backs of the blood-scale king and the silver-wing king, and the heads of the two silver-winged blood-scaled sky-swallowing pythons also began to grow sharp bone armor made of white bones. At this time, the aura of the two silver-winged blood-scaled sky-swallowing pythons was still soaring. The huge and captivating pressure continued to emanate from the bodies of these two silver-winged blood-scaled sky-swallowing pythons. Roar! A huge beast roar suddenly resounded through the world. The next moment, the army of ferocious beasts that had been frightened by Suyu's killing stopped fleeing instantly. The ferocious beasts stood up and roared to the sky. At this time, the faces of Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong also sank directly. Half a step to the 6th level. At this time, Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong looked at each other, and this was difficult. Above the 5th level, each major realm is divided into 9 small realms from the 1st to the 9th level. But even so, the gap between each small realm is still very huge. Therefore, it is almost impossible for the strong above the 5th level to fight across levels. And it is absolutely impossible for those above the 5th level to fight across a large realm. Lin Qianlong and Lin Aocean are both masters of the 5th level and 8th grade. And the two silver-winged blood-scaled swallowing sky pythons before are also the 5th level and 8th grade. The strength of the two sides is equal, so there is no death fight between the two sides. After all, unless they die together, the two sides can do nothing to each other. But at this time, in order to kill Suyu and strangle Suyu, the genius of the human race, in the cradle, the two silver-winged blood-scaled swallowing sky pythons did not hesitate to use the secret method with great side effects to forcibly improve the realm. Swallowing python into dragon. Half a step to the 6th level. At this time, the two silver-winged blood-scaled swallowing sky pythons stretched the ferocious claws that had just grown into the flesh and blood on their backs. Directly pulled out a giant sword made of bones that was dozens of meters long. Blood and minced meat were still dripping on the huge bone sword. Seeing these two silver-winged blood-scaled sky-swallowing pythons being so ruthless, everyone on the battlefield felt a chill in their hearts. At this time, the Silver-Wing King and the Blood-Scale King had already reached the realm of the half-step 6th level. Now Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong were unable to maintain a state of equal strength with these two beast kings. Suyu. Today is the day you die. Then he rushed directly in the direction of Suyu. Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong were about to stop him, but the Blood-Scale King directly swung the huge bone sword in his hand. Don't worry, after killing Suyu, you will be the next to die. He slashed with a sword. The huge waves on the East China Sea were directly split in half by the terrifying sword energy. The Silver-Wing King who was killing Suyu was incredibly fast. Human race, retreat to the Great Wall. At this time, Suyu's voice rang out. Zhang Debao and others were stunned, and then hurriedly retreated. At this time, Suyu was their absolute core. Fang Wenzi was stubborn, and didn't want to leave, but Red Rose said beside him, you will only be a burden to Suyu if you stay here. Do you want Suyu to be distracted by you? After hearing what Red Rose said, those who didn't want to leave before also retreated, leaving the battlefield to Suyu. Lin Qingsu and Fatty Wang also had tangled faces at this time. Don't you believe in Suyu? Red Rose said again. Of course we believe in him. Fatty Wang said hurriedly. Since you believe in Suyu, stay away from here. Red Rose urged. At this time, the Yanjing inspection team was also retreating at a high speed. I think if Suyu can win this battle, he will definitely get one of the 3 national destiny bound places in the God's Chosen Academy. At this time, a tutor from the God's Chosen Academy said. At this time, Fang Wana said uncertainly, there are as many as 30,000 or 40,000 students in the entire God's Chosen Academy, and there are 10 7-star monsters. It is still difficult for Suyu to get the quota of national destiny bound. I think Suyu still has great hope. Sukuang, who is naturally taciturn, said something unprecedented. At this time, all the human races have retreated to the vicinity of the Great Wall of the Magic City, and Suyu is also driving the Overlord Mecha, heading towards a place far away from the Great Wall of the Magic City. seeing that disgusting and terrifying giant snake, with its ferocious claws, holding a giant sword with mincemeat, and roaring wildly at him. It is impossible for Suyu not to be frightened. But this is war. It's okay to be afraid of the enemy, you just need to make your enemy more afraid of you. At this time, above the East China Sea, Lin Aotian and Lin Xianlong were held tightly by the Blood Scale King. Are you willing to let that kid die? Or let's use that trick? Lin Aotian said to Lin Xianlong at this time. The mature and steady Lin Xianlong frowned and said, wait a little longer. Lin Aotian swung out a knife for her, bombarding the Blood Scale King's neck, and said angrily, what are you waiting for? If you wait any longer, the kid will die. This kid is a good seedling, and he takes the feelings of family and country very seriously. He can also shoulder the burden. So I think there must be a place for him in the national destiny bound. If you let him die here now, I'll see how you will explain it when you go back. After hearing this, Lin Xianlong was silent for a moment, and then looked at Suyu's position. At this time, the huge silver Wind King was about to approach Suyu's position. Lin Xianlong nodded, as if he had made up his mind. Just as he was about to speak, he found that Suyu's side had suddenly changed. Electromagnetic field. Open. Suyu's cold voice sounded, and the next moment countless terrifying thunder spread instantly. A trifle. The furious Silver Wind King waved the terrifying giant sword in his hand, and swept away several thunders in front of him with one sword. At this time, the army of fierce beasts saw this scene and roared excitedly. The human race who retreated to the Great Wall of the Magic City to watch the battle all felt nervous. It is not an exaggeration to say that this electromagnetic field is Suyu's trump card, but now it is blocked by the sword of the Beast King, who is half a step to the 6th level. Alas, the level difference between Suyu and this Beast King is too big. I'm afraid there is not much chance of winning. At this time, several experts from the Yanjing inspection team said, the bone sword in the hand of this silver-winged blood-scaled swallowing sky python is not conductive, so it is also very disadvantageous for Suyu, who is good at using lightning power. Just when the Silver Wind King broke through Suyu's electromagnetic field with a sword and approached Suyu in an instant, the huge bone sword in his hand was only a few meters away from Suyu's mecha. Suyu's open right hand suddenly clenched. Suyu's mouth curled up. You've been fooled. The next moment, boom. Countless iron sands instantly burst out from the surrounding ground. This is Suyu using the electromagnetic field and electromagnetic force to instantly absorb the iron sand and iron powder in the surrounding land. The huge body of the Silver Wind King was blasted with blood by these tiny and sharp iron sands, but they were all skin injuries and not fatal. The Silver Wind King was furious. With two hideous and twisted dragon claws, she suddenly raised the huge bone sword in her hand high. She wanted to smash the kid in the tortoise shell into pieces with one sword. At this moment, Suyu turned around abruptly. He made a gesture of swinging the sword. But what puzzled everyone was that Suyu did not have a sword. At this time, Suyu, who was wearing the Overlord armor, was too huge, and there was no such huge sword for the Overlord armor to use. Just when everyone was puzzled, even the Silver Wind King did not know what Suyu was crazy about. Overlord giant sword. Out. A light shout sounded. The next moment, countless bright electric lights instantly filled the surroundings. At this time, the surroundings, the air and the ground were all iron sand. In an instant, under the traction of the terrifying electromagnetic force, countless iron sands instantly gathered. The next moment, a pitch black Overlord sword filled with scarlet lightning, almost as long as the Overlord armor, suddenly appeared in Suyu's hand. Chapter 44. The Overlord's giant sword appears. Severely inflicts heavy damage on the Silver Wind King. At this time, scarlet lightning was emitting from the Overlord giant sword. Countless iron sand and scarlet lightning formed this Overlord giant sword. And on the Overlord giant sword, there were even several scarlet inscriptions flashing. When the Overlord giant sword came out, the Silver-Winged Beast King was frightened, and his pupils shrank. Roar. At this time, the Silver-Winged King, who had already turned into a half-dragon, had no time to react, because the huge bone sword in his hand was raised too high, and before Suyu summoned the Overlord giant sword, he was already making the swinging action. The Overlord giant sword suddenly appeared out of thin air at this moment, leaving no time for anyone to react. Wow. This kid still has a trump card? At this time, Lin Qianlong was shocked. This kid is really good. Do you think the binder I chose for you looks like that? At this time, Lin Aotian also said proudly. At this time, the Blood Scale King knew that something was wrong, so he wanted to help, but was held back by Lin Aotian and Lin Qianlong. Hey, you just forced us to play, and now you want to run away. At this time, Lin Aotian slashed with the long knife in his hand. Yeah, stay here and see how Suyu stripped your wife's snakeskin off. At this time, Lin Qianlong also waved the Panlong staff in his hand, and several green dragon shadows attacked the Blood Scale King fiercely. The Blood Scale King was shocked and angry at this moment, but he couldn't get away, so he could only roar to the sky. At this time, the Overlord giant sword in the Overlord armor's hand had already slashed heavily at the Silver Wing King's abdomen. The thrusters on the shoulders and elbows of the Overlord armor were at their maximum horsepower. The huge thrust drove the arms of Suyu's Overlord armor, and the Overlord giant sword swung round and slashed at the Silver Wing King's abdomen. The terrifying speed and weight made the Overlord giant sword tear the air fiercely, causing a huge sonic boom. The next moment, the Overlord giant sword, which reached an extreme speed, slammed the extremely hard snake scales on the Silver Wing King's abdomen. Each scale of the silver-winged blood scale swallowing sky python is as big as a basin, and bullets can't penetrate it. At this time, Suyu's Overlord giant sword touched the hard snake scales and collided with a scarlet spark. The next moment, the destructive lightning burst out from the Overlord giant sword. The terrifying huge force was directly transmitted from the Overlord giant sword to the abdomen of the Silver Wing King, and the terrifying thunder exploded at the same time. The terrifying force plus the exploding thunder force caused the huge body of the Silver Wing King, which had already turned into a half dragon, to be smashed and flew out directly. The body of the Silver Wing King was smashed straight away, and at the same time, the loud sound of the collision was heard by everyone outside the battlefield. Seeing the huge body of the Silver Wing King, which was hundreds of meters long, being smashed straight away, all the human races were stunned. The Silver Wing King opened her bloody mouth, and countless blood spurted out of her mouth. Although Suyu's sword did not cut her body open, it caused her serious internal injuries. The Silver Wing King felt that his internal organs had been smashed. Great skill is not elaborate. The heavy sword has no edge. The expert who was not optimistic about Suyu before was stunned and sighed. Although this Overlord giant sword is not sharp, it is extremely domineering. It can knock such a giant beast away with one blow. Such divine power. This can really be said to be a force that can pull mountains and a spirit that can conquer the world. It is worthy of the name of Overlord. At this time, everyone in the Yanjing inspection team was amazed, and Suyu, who was in the center of the battlefield, was holding the Overlord giant sword, standing proudly on the spot like an overlord. At this time, a shocking battle broke out in the sky above the East China Sea. Lin Qianlong and Lin Aotian held the already mad Blood Scale King tightly. Now, after receiving a heavy blow from Suyu, the Silver Wing King first experienced a brief fainting. As his body fell heavily to the ground, the Silver Wing King was awakened by the pain. At this time, the scales on the Silver Wing King's abdomen were already shattered. It had already been smashed into a bloody mess by the Overlord giant sword in Suyu's hand. The Silver Wing King let out a miserable cry. Even using secret methods to forcibly upgrade to the half-step 6th level is still useless to this kid. Why is there such a monster among the human race? Question mark? Could it be that the weakened human race is really going to rise again? At this time, the Silver Wing King was in grief and anger. She hated. At this time, Suyu's condition was not too good. This huge mecha consumed too much energy. At this time, the energy of the arc reactor had been consumed by almost half. If the battle is not resolved quickly, once the energy of the Overlord armor is exhausted, the battle will instantly fall to the side of the fierce Beast Legion. At this time, the battle situation seems to be in the hands of the human race, but this is because Suyu alone is holding back a half-step 6th level Beast King. If the energy of Suyu's armor is exhausted, the two Beast Kings will join forces, and the human army will no longer have any room for resistance. So at this time, Suyu knew in his heart that, if he wanted to save the Magic City and the people behind him, there was only one way, that is, to seriously injure or even kill the Silver Wing King in front of him before the energy of the armor is exhausted. Only in this way can there be a chance of victory in this battle. Now the Overlord armor only has about half of its energy left, and the light from the arc reactor on its chest has dimmed a lot. It can be said that if Suyu can win this battle, the Magic City Legion will also win. And if Suyu loses, the Magic City will be destroyed. The Magic City Legion will be destroyed. Thinking of this, Suyu once again raised the Overlord giant sword in his hand, which was still emitting scarlet thunder. The huge thruster under his feet burst into flames, and the entire ground began to tremble. The nearly 1,000-ton steel giant slowly flew into the sky. Suyu, do you have to fight me to the death? At this time, the Silver Wing King let out a miserable female cry. Suyu, if you die, the entire Magic City, everyone in the entire Magic City, and the entire Magic City Legion will be destroyed. Can you bear such a responsibility? At this time, the Silver Wing King spoke in human language and roared. Why do you pretend to be a hero? If you lose, because of your tragic defeat, my clan will surely torture everyone in your demon city to death. And if you are willing to surrender to me, even if the demon city is destroyed, I promise not to slaughter any of your human race at will. At this time, Suyu heard this, and really stood still in the air, as if he was entangled and struggling. Seeing that Suyu seemed to be hesitant, the Blood Scale King above the East China Sea also roared. Suyu, you are guarding the Great Wall so desperately, isn't it because you are afraid that my clan will wantonly slaughter your human race? I promise that, as long as you can surrender, you will be the master of the demon city in the future. We don't have to fight to the death. No more killing. At this time, the civilians in the demon city also heard the roar of the Blood Scale King. At this time, many people were silent. They really hated the war, hated the days of living in fear all day long, and hated the days when human soldiers died every day. Those soldiers were their family, friends, parents, and brothers. At this moment, a scornful laugh rang out. Ha ha ha, interesting, so interesting. You come here to take my things, and you tell me not to resist? You robbed what belongs to me, and then gave me some casually, and you want me to be grateful? I, Suyu, don't have any great ambitions, nor do I have any so-called sense of responsibility. But I know that, as long as you ferocious beasts are not exterminated, my human race will never have a good life. Kill all of you ferocious beasts. Only in this way can we ensure the peace and prosperity of our China. Kill all of you ferocious beasts. Only in this way can the blood of our ancestors not be shed in vain. At this time, Suyu, standing proudly in the air, pointed the giant sword in his hand directly at the Silver Wing King. Silver Wing King, today we will fight to the death. Either you die or I die. Chapter 45 Mission assigned. Hard fight against the Beast King. Suyu's voice resounded through the heavens and the earth. You are the ones who started the war. How dare you, beasts, bark in front of our army. Today, I will kill you. Suyu felt a rage burning in his chest. At this moment, Jarvis' voice suddenly sounded. Sir, I have detected your hatred for the aliens who invaded the human race. You dared to protect the city behind you and face the terrible Beast King alone. This reminds me of the scene when Mr. Stark carried the nuclear bomb and saved New York City alone. Therefore, Iron Man's contract fusion degree +2, super brain activation degree +2, electromagnetic field range +1 times. Super brain activation degree increased, and the progress of cracking the sword in the stone was accelerated. Currently unlocked sword moves, 10,000 swords return to the origin. Task, kill the strong enemy, and obtain the 5th level upper grade demon pill. Reward, open a Stark secret room at will. At this time, the system panel in Suyu's mind lit up again. Name, Suyu Iron Man contract fusion degree. 12% Jarvis activation degree. 12% activated armor, MK1/MK2/MK3/ anti-Hulk armor other contract fusion degree. 3% skills, electromagnetic field, sword in the stone, divine body. Current task, kill the 5th level Beast King. Task reward, the power to open a Stark secret room at will. At this time, Suyu understood, in order to improve the compatibility with Iron Man's armor, he could only try his best to imitate Tony Stark, kill the Beast King in this battle, and turn the tide. so as to gain Jarvis's recognition and gain more benefits. And Suyu was stunned. What's the matter with this other contract? What's wrong with this divine body? Question mark. But then Suyu thought that if he died here today, it would be useless to have 100 contracts in his body. As long as he died here today, all the problems would be meaningless. So Suyu quickly pulled his mind back and began to face the powerful enemy in front of him. Countless people came back to their senses after Suyu's roar. Silver winking. Die. Then everyone saw Suyu holding the Overlord giant sword, fell directly from a high altitude, like a demon descending from the sky. At this time, the Overlord giant sword in Suyu's hand, the sword body was shining with lightning. In the electromagnetic field, the electromagnetic force was sharpening the blade of the giant sword. At this time, the Overlord giant sword was no longer in a state of no edge, but had been sharpened. The Overlord armor held the Overlord giant sword, carrying the violent momentum of thunder and lightning, and smashed it towards the head of the Silver Winking. At this time, the Silver Winking was shocked, and the fangs in his mouth burst suddenly. Then the lavender venom instantly sprayed towards Suyu in the air, and as the fangs shattered, a transparent light film instantly wrapped most of the body of the Silver Winking. How could the dignified Beast King not have a way to save his life? At this time, Suyu in the air had no time to dodge and could only be covered with the venom sprayed from the mouth of the Silver Winking. A large amount of venom instantly corroded the outer layer of the Overlord armor. The next moment, the Overlord heavy sword fell. The defensive light film released by the Silver Winking instantly cracked, but it did not break. At this time, Suyu took advantage of the rebound force of the defensive light film on the Overlord giant sword and turned around. Wielding the Overlord giant sword weighing dozens of tons, he directly chopped at the tail of the Silver Winking that was leaking out of the light film. Swish! A tearing sound rang out. The tail of the Silver Winking, which was more than 10 meters thick, was directly cut off by the Overlord giant sword in Suyu's hand. The Silver Winking was in pain and howled miserably. At this time, the other fang of the Silver Winking also sprayed thick venom instantly. Seeing that he could not dodge in a hurry, Suyu directly threw the Overlord giant sword in his hand with all his strength. The giant sword was across the sky. The next moment, the huge Overlord giant sword exploded in the air. Countless iron sands were instantly scattered. The next moment, countless black iron sands directly formed a semicircular barrier in the air. Thick lavender venom was splashed on this semicircular iron sand barrier. Thick smoke instantly emerged from the iron sand wall. It was enough to show how terrifying the venom of the Silver Winking was. The next moment, the Overlord armor's right hand clenched suddenly. The countless iron sands instantly turned into a spear hundreds of meters long. Seeing this scene, countless people opened their mouths wide. Part of it was unexpected by the horror of the Silver Winking's venom, and part of it was surprised by the myriad changes in the giant sword in Suyu's hand. Within Suyu's electromagnetic field, Suyu can use electromagnetic force to manipulate the metal element in the field at will. So these iron sands, within Suyu's electromagnetic field, can not only be transformed into the Overlord giant sword, but can even be transformed into the Overlord spear. Overlord spear. The next moment, Suyu tightly grasped the spear and stabbed the light film around the Silver Winking. The light film around the Silver Winking fluctuated instantly, and then a thick barrier condensed on the light film in front of the Silver Winking. As soon as Suyu's Overlord spear came out, this protective light film instantly gathered most of the power to block the spear of the Overlord spear. The spear in Suyu's hand could no longer move forward. Suyu narrowed his eyes slightly, and he seemed to understand the power of this protective light film. That is, it can mobilize energy at any time and transfer most of the energy to the part that is about to be attacked. At this time, Suyu stretched out the spear in his hand and then suddenly let go. The spear flew back directly because of the elastic force of the protective light shield. At this time, Suyu held the end of the spear and then turned around. A little cold light comes first. Then the spear goes in and out of the dragon. In a flash, the hundreds of meters long spear directly pierced into the light film. But even though Suyu's return spear was fast enough, the Silver Winking still reacted and blocked it at the critical moment. This defensive formation is so powerful. At this time, the faces of the human race watching were a little ugly. Such a powerful return spear can't break the protective light shield. Exclamation mark. Suyu knew it in his heart and had a plan at this time. It seems that this protective light shield can only barely defend 1 or 2 swords at the same time. What about 100 swords, or 1,000 swords, and 10,000 swords? At this time, Suyu looked at the 10,000 swords returning to the origin in his mind, and he was confident. In the next move, I will break your defensive formation. At this time, Suyu, wearing the Overlord armor, put his hands together and began to pinch the sword formula. Haha, you are so arrogant. Even Linkages, Blood Slaughter Mad Blade, can't break my defense formation. What can you do to break it? At this time, Suyu did not answer, but continued to make sword gestures with his hands and stood quietly. At this time, Lin Xianlong asked Linkages beside him, you are such a waste. You really can't even break this small defense formation? And Linkages also glanced at Lin Xianlong with a sidelong look. You are talking as if you can break it. The defense formation of the Silver Wing Blood Scale Swallowing Sky Python clan comes from the principle of the eggshell. When they were born, it can block almost all attacks below the 6th level. Even if you and I can break it, it will cost an extremely huge price. And Lin Xianlong also glanced at the Blood Scale King beside him. Hey, little bug, is your defense formation really that powerful? At this time, the Blood Scale King saw that his Taoist partner, the Silver Wing King, had Suyu's abdomen smashed and his tail cut off. At this moment, he was hiding in the defense light shield and trembling, miserable. And the instigator Suyu was still like nothing happened. The Blood Scale King was immediately furious. He howled to the sky. He swung his giant tail. He attacked the Tulin brothers like crazy. Chapter 46. The monsters of all races are not destroyed. The magic city of China is not at peace. At this moment, above the East China Sea, 2 people and a dragon started a fierce battle in an instant. Although Linkages and Lin Xianlong could not suppress the Blood Scale King, they still held him tightly. Seeing that he could not get away and could not go to help the Silver Wing King, the Blood Scale King began to talk back. Haha, stupid human. Since you asked sincerely, then I will tell you reluctantly. The formation of our Silver Wing Blood Scale Swallowing Sky Python clan is naturally extremely powerful. This formation is our natal formation. It is usually engraved on the fangs and will not be used unless it is absolutely necessary. But once it is used, the existence below the 6th level cannot break it at all. So don't dream of breaking our clan's defense formation. You retreat now. We can withdraw our troops. Just as the Blood Scale King had already begun to retreat and was about to have a good talk with Linkages about the truce, but at the same time, Suyu's voice rang. Secret method. 10,000 swords returned to the clan. Hearing this, everyone looked over immediately. Just as Suyu's voice fell, a dull rumble sounded from deep in the earth. Under Suyu's feet, the entire land within a range of thousands of meters collapsed instantly. What kind of divine power is this? Lord Suen's domain has reached perfection. At this time, the Sword Master Fang Wenzi was amazed. The experts of the Yanjing expedition team began to have daily doubts. This power is indeed huge. But Suyu's domain seems to be different from the domains of other strongmen. It seems to use the electromagnetic energy of the armor to control the electromagnetic force field in the surrounding limited space, and then use the electromagnetic force field to achieve the purpose of control. So that's it. This can only be regarded as a pseudo-domain. After all, the one who can truly release the domain must be a 6th level strongman. Although Suyu is strong, it is absolutely impossible to say that he is a 6th level strongman. The experts of the Yanjing expedition team began their daily scientific discussions. At this moment, the people of the Magic City did not have any leisure and elegance to discuss any topics with these old men. At this moment, the people of the Magic City were just looking at the situation on Suyu's side with concern. According to their understanding of Suyu, Suyu should show his trump card. So the people of the Magic City looked at the center of the battlefield without blinking. At this time, the large area of land under Suyu's feet completely collapsed. Countless iron sands like smoke and dust flew out from the ground like smoke. Countless iron sands and iron powders instantly filled the entire electromagnetic field. Now that the range and power of Suyu's electromagnetic field have doubled, it can naturally absorb more iron sands. And now, the overwhelming iron sands like dust directly filled the air. Then Suyu's right index finger and middle finger of the overlord armor were put together. Condensed sword finger. And the iron sands floating in the air like long smoke and rivers instantly turned into thousands of small iron balls. Thousands of round small balls just floated quietly in the air. 10,000 swords returned to the origin. Old Fang, have you heard of this sword technique? At this time, Zhang Debao asked Fang Wenski, who had already been dazed beside him. Fang Wenski was also shocked and said, I've heard of it. More than just heard of it. This move of 10,000 swords returning to the origin is the ultimate killer move for practicing flying swords. Flying swords? Flying 10,000 swords at the same time. How is that possible? How high a level of sword cultivation does this require? I'm afraid even a sword master can't do it. At this time, the experts of the Yanjing inspection team on the side doubted again with a rigorous and truth-seeking attitude. And where did Suyu get 10,000 swords? As soon as the voice fell, Suyu shouted softly, gather. Suyu's hands suddenly clasped together. In an instant, the iron balls formed by thousands of iron sands directly turned into a long sword with a black body and a cold blade. At this moment, countless black long swords were suspended in the air behind Suyu. The place where the sword pointed was the Silver Wing King hiding behind the light array. Because Suyu had already seen that the Silver Wing King's protective formation was to gather energy from other parts and actively defend the attacked parts. That is to say, the power of the entire formation is concentrated on one point in an instant. The solution Suyu came up with at this time was to use the 10,000 swords return to the origin without any blind spots and indiscriminately to break this formation. At this time, the entire sky behind Suyu was full of densely packed black swords. The tips of those nearly 10,000 swords were all pointing at the protective light formation next to the Silver Wing King. Feeling the sharp aura emitted by those nearly 10,000 swords, the Silver Wing King completely collapsed. Suyu, do you have to fight to the death? Suyu, if you stop now, I can promise you to withdraw your troops. No one will be harmed within 10 years. I will not attack your demon city within 10 years. Suyu, do you really want to continue this war? At this time, the Silver Wing King hid in the protective light formation and roared for mercy. And the Blood Scale King above the East China Sea also had eyes that were about to burst. Lineation. We will withdraw now. No one will be harmed in 10 years. But if you continue to allow Suyu to hurt my Taoist partner, I will use all my life to destroy your demon city. Let everyone in the demon city be buried with my wife. At this time, the Blood Scale King attacked Lineation and Lin Xianlang frantically. And Lineation's eyes were confused for a moment. At this time, Suyu's voice sounded, I'm a Chinese man. How can I compromise with my mortal enemy? As long as the monsters of all races are not destroyed, my demon city China will not be at peace. Dare to stretch your claws towards China? Then I must chop off your claws. Originally, hearing the promises of the Blood Scale King and the Silver Wing King, many people began to struggle in their hearts. After all, no one will be harmed in 10 years. That means that the demon city can have 10 years of peace. In these 10 years, all of their parents, family members and friends will not die because of the beasts. In these 10 years, they will not be frightened. In these 10 years, they can live a happy life like ordinary people. All this is a dream life for the war-torn demon city human race. But at this moment, Suyu's words awakened everyone. The monsters are not destroyed. The human race is not at peace. My Chinese men can die in battle, but they will never compromise with monsters. Su Shen, kill her. We don't want this kind of false peace like charity. At this time, everyone in the Magic City was excited. After hearing the words of Suyu and the soldiers of the Magic City, the tangled color on Lineation's face disappeared. The country brings talents. Lineation stroked the long sword in his hand. Yes, with such a monster in the young generation, we old guys can be worry-free. Lin Xianlang also smiled and sighed. At this time, the blue-green aura around Lin Xianlang's body was surging. While Lineation stroked the blood-colored longsword with his palm, there was also a blood-colored pressure around his body that was constantly shaking. Domain? You have all touched the real domain? At this time, the Blood Scale King felt the two powerful auras in front of him and was immediately shocked. You are only the 5th level and 8th grade. Why can you awaken the domain? At this time, the Blood Scale King still screamed in disbelief. The powerful domain pressure of Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong instantly spread beyond the Great Wall of Magic City. Everyone was extremely shocked at this moment. Domain power. Real domain power. The experts of the Yanjing inspection team exclaimed. Lin Aocean on the East China Sea laughed loudly without looking back. Ha ha ha. Let the young people be so afraid. Doesn't it mean that we old guys are useless? And Lin Qianlong also smiled and nodded, and then said coldly, Suyu, no need to be afraid. Just do it. Kill her. Even if it's a big mess, we old guys will still fight it. Chapter 47. 10,000 swords return to their origin. Kill. At this time, the voices of Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong resounded over the East China Sea. It even reached the ears of everyone in the Magic City. After hearing the Tersenias say so much, Suyu no longer had any fear in his heart. After all, Suyu before was also worried. If he killed the Silver Wind King in front of him, would it lead to a more intense and cruel counterattack by the army of fierce beasts? Would it bring a devastating disaster to the Magic City again? But at this moment, all these doubts disappeared. The human race and the fierce beasts are mortal enemies, and the monsters of all races will never give up attacking the human race. Even if Suyu let go of the Silver Wind King in front of him at this time, who can guarantee that the promise made by the Silver Wind King is true? What Suyu understands is that the Silver Wind King will never let the Magic City go. They have always been mortal enemies with the human race. Letting go of the Silver Wind King at this time, even if it can bring 10 years of peace to the Magic City, it is tantamount to drinking poison to quench thirst. At this moment, Suyu's eyes returned to clarity again. Suyu, wearing the Overlord armor, stepped forward and stood still on the spot. Then Suyu raised his right hand high. He stretched out his index and middle fingers, and held his right hand with his left hand. The index and middle fingers of his right hand pointed forward suddenly. At this moment, the sky and the earth changed color. A violent wind suddenly rose on the entire battlefield. Countless scarlet thunders were attracted by Suyu's electromagnetic field. Countless lightning covered the nearly 10,000 black swords behind Suyu. 10,000 swords returned to the clan. Kill. The roar of thunder resounded throughout the venue. The next moment, countless sword sounds also responded instantly. At this moment, it seemed that there were not 10,000 swords behind Suyu, but a legion of 10,000 people. At this moment, countless thunders fell. Countless black swords, wrapped in scarlet lightning, instantly bypassed Suyu, like a long river formed by several long swords, and attacked the defensive formation where the Silver Wind King was. At this moment, the Silver Wind King saw that the situation was not good, and decided to give it a try. The Silver Wind King looked at the rain of swords in the sky, and a mouthful of blood suddenly gushed out of his mouth. The blood of the Silver Wind King covered the defensive light film, and the entire formation shone brightly in an instant. The defensive power became even stronger, and Suyu's several long rivers of sword energy had already arrived. Countless long swords stabbed at the circular light shield in front of them. In an instant, sparks flew everywhere. Suyu kept his hands in the sword gesture, and did not move. Soon, Suyu's figure was isolated and covered by the long river of sword energy wrapped in lightning in the sky. At this time, the Silver Wind King was struggling to resist. On the light film of the defensive formation, there were already cracks at this moment. The Silver Wind King did not dare to relax at all. Once the protective formation was broken, she would only be pierced by thousands of arrows. At this time, the people watching the battle had already been scared on the spot. Suyu really just became the chosen one? Is this kind of battle something that should happen to those below the 6th rank? Is this really the strength that a lieutenant in your Magic City military should have? At this moment, everyone in the Yanjing inspection team was stunned on the spot as they watched the long river of sword energy that Suyu summoned on the battlefield constantly attacking the Silver Wind King. This kind of scene is rare even under the Great Wall of Despair in Yanjing. At this moment, the defense formation where the Silver Wind King was located directly turned into a Shura field. Sword energy was everywhere. Fire was splashing. Countless black swords wrapped in scarlet thunder were constantly bombarding the defense formation. The ground around the Silver Wind King's defense formation was bombarded by the aftermath of Suyu's long river of sword energy, creating a huge deep pit. At this time, Suyu's figure had already been covered by the long river of sword energy. Just when everyone was shocked by the powerful power of Suyu's move of 10,000 swords returning to the origin, the miserable wail of the thunder flame wing eagle was heard in the sky. Countless pieces of flesh and corpses kept falling from the dark clouds. Blood rain fell from the sky. It turned out that those thunder flame wing eagles had been hiding in the dark clouds, preparing to attack Suyu at the critical moment. However, the strength displayed by Suyu frightened all the beasts, so the thunder flame wing eagles did not dare to attack. But Suyu never forgot them. At this time, Suyu used the electromagnetic force in the electromagnetic field to constantly adjust the position of nearly 10,000 swords. Those long swords that stabbed at the defense formation of the Silver Wing King flew into the sky in an instant with the rebound force of the defense light shield. There was actually a long river of sword energy hidden in the dense dark clouds. The target of this long river of sword energy was those thunder flame wing eagles that were hiding. At this time, the group of thunder flame wing eagles were directly crushed into pieces of meat under the long river of sword energy controlled by Suyu. Although the thunder flame wing eagles had extreme speed, they still couldn't escape Suyu's long river of sword energy. In just a few breaths, although the defense formation of the Silver Wing King was not broken, the thunder flame wing eagle clan hiding in the dark clouds was directly crushed into blood foam by Suyu's 10,000 swords returning to the ancestor. Seeing this scene, everyone under the Great Wall of the Demon City cheered. They didn't expect that Suyu's 10,000 swords returning to the ancestor was so strong. The 3rd level or even 4th level thunder flame wing eagles were all powerless to fight back and were directly crushed. Although the defense formation of the Silver Wing King could not be attacked for a long time, it was the life-saving trump card of the Beast King who was half a step to the 6th level. Mr. Suen is at least at the level of a great master of swordsmanship. I guess he is not far from the level of a sword fairy. At this time, Fang Wenzi sighed while holding the sword in his hand. Indeed, but I always feel that this kid doesn't seem to have reached this level through practice. Suyu should have simulated the level close to the sword fairy through the external force of the armor. At this time, the expert of the Yanjing inspection team said again. But external force is still external force, and it is only when one is strong that one is truly strong. Another expert from the Yanjing inspection team also said. At this time, everyone in the Magic City ignored them. Strong is strong, and who among the chosen ones does not rely on the power of others? You are here to point out the way. If you can do it, you can do it. At this time, Fatty Wang retorted without hesitation. Yes, if you have the ability, you can also use external forces and go up to help. At this time, Zhang Debao was also very unceremonious. After all, the entire Magic City is now covered by the great god Suyu, but the expert from Yanjing in front of him actually pointed out the way here, which made Zhang Debao very unhappy. At this time, the Silver Wing King, who was in the defense formation, was shocked. Unexpectedly, when Suyu attacked her, he still had the spare energy to clean up the army of murderers. But at this moment, the Silver Wing King was also very frustrated. She was now a clay Buddha crossing the river and could not protect herself. There was no spare energy to stop Suyu's massacre. At this time, after Suyu killed all the thunder flame winged eagles on the battlefield, he pointed his sword at the double-edged saber-toothed tiger hiding in the distant dense forest. The several long rivers of sword energy attacking the Silver Wing King instantly split, and the 2 mighty long rivers of sword energy instantly attacked the dense forest, where the beasts were hiding like giant pythons. The next moment, countless sharp sword energy and terrifying thunder instantly exploded the entire dense forest. Chapter 48, a long river of sword energy emerges. One sword opens the gate to heaven. In the dense forest under the Great Wall of the Demon City, there are giant birch trees growing. At this time, this dense forest has undoubtedly become the best place for the beasts to hide. The vast and silent forest before was instantly flooded with 2 long rivers of sword energy like giant pythons. The entire dense forest instantly exploded under the soaring sword energy and terrifying thunder. The entire dense forest was razed to the ground in an instant. Except for a few seriously injured double-edged saber-toothed tigers wailing and fleeing, the rest of the beast army was directly crushed to pieces in this long river of sword energy wrapped in thunder. Seeing this scene, the human army under the Great Wall of the Demon City burst into cheers again. Wow. Su Shen almost wiped out most of the beast army alone. This kind of heroic posture of a god descending to earth is probably comparable to the monsters cultivated by the big families in Yanjing with all their resources. At this time, several experts from the Yanjing inspection team finally admitted, indeed, the combat power displayed by Suyu now should be comparable to the monsters, ranked at the top of the monster list. At this time, Zhang Beizhen also said in a deep voice, I always feel that Suyu at this moment is similar to my uncle. The confidence of controlling everything on the battlefield, the heroic posture of killing thousands of beasts with one move, are exactly the same. At this moment, Su Kuang also sighed. If his elder brother had not died in the defense of Yanjing that year, he would definitely be as good as Suyu. Su Kuang thought uncontrollably in his heart. At this moment, above the East China Sea, Lin Ocean, who released the Mad Blade Field, was slashing thousands of knife shadows at the Blood Scale King. Then he saw that Suyu led the long river of sword energy to slaughter the beasts. Lin Ocean laughed loudly, ha ha ha. Although your army of beasts came with great force, they were slaughtered by one of my men. It is God's will. Your East Sea Cave will be destroyed. The Son of Heaven has appeared in my human race, you beasts, why don't you quickly wait for your neck to be slaughtered? Lin Ocean's laughter resounded over the East China Sea. At this time, Lin Qianlong was also constantly controlling the shadow of the Azure Dragon to attack the Blood Scale King, and most of Lin Qianlong's attention was still on Suyu on the battlefield. At this time, Lin Qianlong was extremely shocked. Although Suyu's performance was almost comparable to the 6-star monsters on the monster list, you must know that the monsters above 5 stars on the monster list all came from big families in Yanjing. Without exception, all of them are the sons or daughters of the Yanjing aristocratic families. These sons and daughters, with the help of their families, have awakened the innate contract in their blood since childhood and become the chosen ones. Then they will get the full support and training of the whole family, and there will be countless masters to teach them experience and methods which will enable these monsters to have terrifying strength at the age of about 20. But Suyu was born in poverty and is an orphan. There is no big family to support him. And Lin Qianlong also learned that Suyu became the chosen one a few days ago. He has such strength just after becoming the chosen one. Question mark? This person is the real monster. Suyu is truly worthy of the name of monster. At this moment, Lin Qianlong began to think seriously. In the Olympic God selection, 3 months later, will Suyu have a chance to get one of the 3 national destiny-bound places in the Chinese God Chosen Academy? Question mark. If Suyu can participate, can he shock everyone like today and show his power? Win rich strategic reserve resources for China? At this time, Lin Qianlong began to look forward to it. According to this kid's temper, if he participated in the Olympic God selection, he would definitely mess up the God selection. At this time, in the battlefield under the Great Wall of the Demon City, the entire army of ferocious beasts had been almost completely slaughtered in the long river of sword energy caused by Suyu's 10,000 swords returning to the origin. Although the protective formation outside the Silver Winking had several spider web-like cracks, it did not break. At this moment, the situation on Suyu's side was not optimistic. The energy consumption of the Overlord armor was already terrifying, and at this time Suyu was fully opening the electromagnetic field and maintaining the state of 10,000 swords returning to the origin. So now the energy in the arc reactor in Suyu's Overlord armor is being consumed at a very fast speed. Sir, the arc reactor is overloaded. If it continues to run, it will cause the arc reactor to explode, and the reactor only has 5% of its energy left. Once the energy is exhausted, the Superbrain and Stark base will be shut down. I will also disappear. Jarvis reminded at this time. How long can this state be maintained? Suyu asked. If it is kept at full firepower, it can still run for 90 seconds. Jarvis replied. Enough. Suyu shouted at this time. The next moment Suyu clenched his fists. Gather. The 2 long rivers of sword energy that had slaughtered the beast army instantly returned to their positions. They merged into the long rivers of sword energy around Suyu. At this moment, no one could see the figure of Suyu wearing the Overlord armor. At this moment, the entire Overlord armor was covered tightly by the dense long river of sword energy, and the mighty long river of sword energy was still bombarding the protective formation next to the Silver Winking. At this moment, the Silver Wind King was almost at the end of his strength. At this time, the Silver Wind King spit out blood, but still held on, continuously providing energy to the protective formation. She was gambling. She was gambling that Suyu would run out of energy before her. At this time, Suyu maintained the Overlord armor while secretly preparing to summon MK3 armor. All human beings, all beasts, including the Bloodscale King and the Silver Wind King saw with their own eyes that his MK3 armor ran out of energy, falling from the sky. And this is exactly the effect Suyu wanted. Suyu just spent a huge amount of energy, using 2 long rivers of sword energy to frantically harvest the lives of the Thunder Flame Winged Eagle and the double-edged saber-toothed tiger, in order to collect enough demon pills. Under circumstances that all human beings and fierce beasts could not imagine, Suyu used the long river of sword energy to frantically collect 3rd level or even 4th level demon pills. The reason why Suyu kept bombarding the Silver Wind King's defense formation was, on the one hand, to consume the power of the formation, and on the other hand, to cover up and attract the attention of all the creatures present. Repairing the plank road in the open, crossing Chinkang in secret. Everything Suyu has done so far is actually all for charging the MK3 armor. Jarvis, what's the situation? Suyu asked hurriedly. After absorbing the energy of 10 4th level demon pills, the energy of the MK3 armor has been fully charged. Jarvis replied at this time. Wow, what a waste. All the remaining demon pills are used to repair the Overlord armor. Hurry up and charge the Overlord armor. Suyu reminded at this time. Yes, sir. Jarvis replied. At this time, in the airtight sword energy river formation, the visor of the giant Overlord armor secretly opened, and Suyu, wearing the MK3 armor, came out. At this time, Suyu was wearing the golden and white MK3 armor, holding the GD light sword that flashed with scarlet sword light, and was said to be indestructible, and quietly leaned on the shoulder of the giant Overlord Mecha. Suyu's mouth curled up slightly. You are used to being tickled, right? Look, I'm going to be ruthless to you. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49. If he becomes emperor, I will be his queen. The Silver Wind King, who had forcibly transformed into a half-dragon, was already at the end of his strength. The Silver Wind King thought that he could use the secret method to improve his strength to the half-step 6th level, to sweep the demon city. But he never expected that Suyu, who was rumored to be able to slaughter the 3rd level beasts, was so powerful. At this time, the Silver Wind King was already half a step to the 6th level, but he was still suppressed by Suyu. Even in front of her, the Beast King, he directly used the long river of sword energy to slaughter most of the beast army. At this moment, the Silver Wind King's heart was full of hatred and anger. She wanted to skin Suyu and tear his bones apart, eat him alive. But now she can only barely protect herself. Only by surviving and holding on until the energy of Suyu's armor is exhausted will she have a chance to take revenge. Suyu, I won't die today. I will kill you. Kill all your family and friends. Let you die in the pain of thousands of snakes biting your heart. At this time, the Silver Wind King roared angrily in the protective light array, crying blood. At this time, a voice sounded in the long river of sword energy that was smashing down on the protective light array of the Silver Wind King. You called me? Hearing this voice, the Silver Wind King was stunned. Suyu's voice? Question mark? Isn't Suyu in the Overlord match? Question mark? How could Suyu be here? Question mark? The next moment, Suyu, wearing MK3 armor and holding the GD sword, appeared directly from the long river of sword energy. The next moment, a scarlet sword like that soared into the sky, swept across in an instant. It directly passed through the eyes of the Silver Wind King, and the extremely solid protective light array that the long river of sword energy could not attack for a long time also exploded under the attack of the GD lightsaber in full state. No. The Silver Wind King's shrill wail sounded. The next moment, the protective light array shattered like glass, and then the light flashed, and the light array instantly turned into a huge ball of light. The next moment, the ball of light instantly exploded. The violent explosion instantly set off a terrifying airwave. Countless longswords were blown away. Suyu, who was wearing Mk3 armor, was also blown far away by this wave of air. The horrible explosion instantly attracted everyone's attention. I saw the Overlord armor, with the face shield open, standing there quietly, like a statue of a demon god. And Suyu, wearing Mk3 armor, stopped steadily in the air. Behind Suyu, there was a long river of sword energy floating in the sky. At this time, Suyu quietly waited for the smoke and dust to dissipate. The Great Wall of the Magic City and the East China Sea had already exploded. Broken. The membrane of the Silver Winking seems to have been broken by Suyu. A high-level official in the Magic City shouted immediately. Everyone looked at the smoke and dust in the sky and was shocked. It seems to be really broken. It's worthy of being Sushen. Even the membrane of the Silver Winking, who is half a step to the 6th level, can be broken. At this time, the high-level officials of the Magic City military sighed. Wow. Good guy. Suyu is using a trick to escape from the shell. At this time, Zhang Debao was stunned. Iron Man contract. Can 2 sets of armor be materialized at the same time? At this time, the experts of the Yanjing inspection team were stunned. The main thing is that, if Iron Man has dozens or hundreds of sets of armor, let Suyu materialize them, and then let others drive them, and then form a mechanical army. God knows how terrifying the combat power of this mechanical army will be. Question mark? Wouldn't it be possible to directly kill into the Void Cave and capture the Queen of 10,000 monsters alive? Question mark? At this time, several experts of the Yanjing inspection team were excited. The high level of the Magic City army looked at the dust in the sky, and then looked at Suyu standing proudly in the air above the long river of sword energy in the armor, and exclaimed, I can't believe that such a stunning genius has appeared in my Magic City. This great Suyu is simply like the reincarnation of Emperor Zenwu. At this time, Wang Jinggang touched his big bald head and sighed. Look, this GD sword in Suyu's hand is a sword that chooses its master. God is unparalleled. Perfect match. Liula, who also said loudly on the side. I don't know who it is, but he boasts about how powerful he is right after he comes here. The GD sword must be in his hands to keep it from being covered in dust. At this time, the sword master Fang Wenzi also spoke. After all, now, Suyu is like a true god in Fang Wenzi's heart. He is both a benefactor and a mentor. In short, whoever makes Suyu unhappy, that makes Fang Wenzi unhappy. Fang Wenzi is upright, but he is protective of his children. Especially for Suyu. No one can say a bad word about Suyu in front of Fang Wenzi. Wanna, from now on, when Suyu enters your god-chosen academy, you must have a good relationship with Suyu. Our old Fang family owes Suyu a favor, but it's a pity that Suyu has a lover. Otherwise I would ask you to repay the favor with your body. Fang Wenzi said, while secretly glancing in the direction of Lin Qingsu. Grandpa, what are you talking about? Fang Wana blushed when she heard the words. Seeing Suyu's heroic appearance, it was impossible for Fang Wana not to have a good impression of Suyu. But the real owner Lin Qingsu was here, and as a girl, how could she say such things openly? When Fang Wana was acting like a spoiled child, Lin Qingsu appeared behind the two of them at some point. As long as Suyu doesn't despise you, you can be a little girl. Don't worry about my attitude. Lin Qingsu said coldly, then glanced at the two people who were shocked, and turned away. When the middle and high level officials of the Magic City saw this scene, they were like hearing shocking gossip. All of them had shining eyes, and they gave thumbs up crazily behind Lin Qingsu. She is worthy of being the eldest lady. She is so domineering. Yes, the eldest lady is gentle and well behaved in front of Sushen, but she is a domineering queen in front of others. Hahaha, the eldest lady directly showed the majesty of the main wife. She really gave our Magic City army a face. That's right, don't you see whose daughter the eldest lady is? Everyone whispered with shining faces. Lin Qingsu walked to Fatty Wang, and Fatty Wang gave her a thumbs up. Sister Lin, you are so domineering. From now on, my brother's harem will be managed by you in an orderly manner. Most women would have been furious after hearing such words, but Lin Qingsu was very happy to hear this and smiled. He is too outstanding. Even if it is not intentional, he will always attract many people. I don't blame him. But if he becomes the emperor, I must be the queen. Linkages said murderously at this time. Fatty Wang shouted in his heart, wow. This sister-in-law has two faces. Question mark? Only my brother can control such a woman. At this time, the Bloodscale King above the East China Sea has already gone crazy. The defensive light array was broken. Question mark? Doesn't that mean that his Taoist partner, the Silver Wing King, is in danger at this moment? Question mark? The Bloodscale King wanted to get rid of the Mad Blade Field of the Demon City Lord Lineocean like crazy, but was entangled by Lineocean and Lin Qianlong. At this time, the smoke in the battlefield dissipated. Chapter 50. Which man doesn't want to be Zhu Zion again? At this time, a bottomless pit appeared in the center of the battlefield of the Demon City. The location of this deep pit was exactly where the Silver Wing King was before. Suyu's Wanjian Gizan and the explosion of the protective formation just now caused this huge pit. At this time, in this deep pit, a ferocious beast claw slowly grabbed the ground. At this moment, everyone's eyes were cast here. In the deep pit, a broken head slowly emerged. The part above the eye socket of this head had been cut off, leaving only a ferocious bloody mouth connected to the broken body of the giant python. Suyu, I will kill you. A shrill cry came from this bloody mouth. Not dead yet? Suyu was also slightly shocked at this time. The sword just now failed to kill this silver wing blood scale swallowing sky python. Suyu. This silver wing blood scale swallowing sky python clan, as long as the body is still there, it can survive. Her head is not her vital point. At this time, Lineocean on the East China Sea also reminded loudly. God Su. Use another move of 10,000 swords returning to the origin. Chop her into pieces. See if she's still alive. Wang Jinggang shouted hurriedly. Now the entire Magic City army has relaxed. After all, the Bloodscale King is being restrained by the two masters Lineocean and Lin Qianlong, and the Silver Wing King is now half dead by Suyu. In this battle, their Magic City army has enough chances of winning. At this time, Suyu is rarely caught in hesitation and entanglement. Everyone was stunned when they saw Suyu silent in the air. Everyone couldn't understand why Suyu, who had always been decisive in killing, chose to remain silent at this juncture. At this time, the Silver Wing King saw Suyu silent and suddenly had an idea. He endured the pain and transformed into the image of a disheveled, pitiful and beautiful woman. At this time, the beautiful woman transformed by the Silver Wing King was only wearing a light gauze, and she collapsed on the ground pitifully, looking at Suyu with a watery and pitiful look. Su Yingxing, please let me go. You have shown your divine power today. Please let me go. I heard that there is a good story in your China. That is the love between a man and a snake, which seems to be called Zhu Zion and Bei Suzhen. How can a human woman be worthy of a great hero like you? Human men should all want to be Zhu Zion. If Su Yingxing doesn't mind, I will be Bei Suzhen from now on, so that Su Yingxing can experience the joy of being Zhu Zion. The charming and frivolous words of the Silver Wing King spread throughout the battlefield. Coupled with the soft and beautiful female image transformed by the Silver Wing King, many soldiers present swallowed their saliva involuntarily. After listening to the words of the Silver Wing King, Zhang Debao and Wang Jinggang also nodded involuntarily. What the Silver Wing King said makes some sense. Which man doesn't want to be Zhu Zion? Then the two looked at each other. Suyu wouldn't really want to be Zhu Zion for a while, so he didn't kill the Silver Wing King? Question mark? The two looked at each other with admiration and envy. You are worthy of being Su Shen. You can do what ordinary people can't. A real man should be like this. At this moment, a figure flashed by. Lin Qingsu instantly appeared behind the two of them and said softly with a cold tone, you two will lose your salary this year. I said it. Zhang Debao and Wang Jinggang were stunned on the spot, wanting to cry, but not having tears. At this time, a shocking laugh broke out above the East China Sea. Lineocean and Lin Qianlong both gave up attacking the Bloodscale King at this time, and just stood in the air, holding their stomachs and laughing loudly. Ha ha ha. Bloodscale King, you are still fighting for your Taoist partner here. Look at your Taoist partner who is offering himself to Suyu. Ha ha ha. At this time, Lineocean put away his long sword and laughed loudly. Ha ha ha, yes. You are the only one who can do this as a snake. Why don't you change your name in the future? Don't call yourself Bloodscale King, call yourself Greenscale King. Lin Qianlong also laughed loudly while leaning on the Panlong staff. Look, have the scales on your head turned green? Ha ha ha. The two brothers Lin Aocean and Lin Qianlong are also good at scolding people. At this time, the two laughed crazily and used spiritual magic to attack crazily to defeat the Blood Scale King. Oh no, the Green Scale King's dignity and psychological defense. At this time, Suyu still stopped in the same place, tilted his head slightly, and seemed to be really entangled. Seeing this scene, the mocking look on the corner of the Silver Wing King's mouth flashed. I have heard that there is a saying in China that heroes are hard to resist beautiful women. Today, I found it to be true. Even Suyu, such a world-class monster, is still ugly under this king's perfect human form. Question mark? Thinking of this, the Silver Wing King was more confident and said in a tender voice, if Su Yingshan doesn't mind, Su Yingshan will be Zuzian, and I will be Bei Suzan, and we will be a pair of happy mandarin ducks every day, okay? At this time, the Silver Wing King tried his best. At this time, Lin Qingsu, who was standing in the crowd, had a cold face and silently pulled out the purple feather short sword from the sword box in her hand. Seeing this, Fatty Wang hurriedly stopped her and said, Sister Lin, this is not a good idea. Don't be angry. I can testify that my eldest brother's orientation is very normal. Aren't you going to cause trouble for my eldest brother now? You have to believe in my eldest brother. My eldest brother will never rush to such a disgusting long worm. At this time, the eyes of the male soldiers around revealed a firm light. Suyu doesn't want to rush. We can rush. When the chaos was about to break out outside the Great Wall of the Magic City, Suyu finally spoke, I'm indeed very entangled. Hearing this, Lin Qingsu's face was suddenly filled with a look of grievance and pain. Fatty Wang was also stunned on the spot, feeling helpless. Big brother, I just helped you brag. Are you going to slap me in the face so soon? Most of the soldiers showed an expression of long live understanding. Su Shen is also a man, and since he is a man, there are always irresistible temptations. Unexpectedly, Suyu continued, I'm really conflicted. Although I wish I could chop you into meat paste, wouldn't the demon pill in your body be wasted? Suyu, am definitely not such a greedy person. Yes, absolutely not. It's just that I have consumed a lot of energy in this battle, and I urgently need your half-step 6th level demon pill to recharge my armor. At this time, Suyu said with great entanglement, and demon pills of this level can be sold as precious medicinal materials, even if the energy is exhausted. I just checked, even a half-step 6th level demon pill with exhausted energy can be sold for a full 200,000 Chinese yuan. 200,000. I only make 2,000 a month now. But to really kill you, I can only chop you into meat paste, and then the demon pill will also break. At this time, Suyu covered his forehead in entanglement. And at this moment, Lin Qingsu shouted at Suyu, Suyu, kill her. Isn't it just the demon pill and money? I'll let my dad give it to you. Lin Qingsu's sudden shout startled everyone. The Yanjing Inspection Team. The Magic City Legion. Lin Ocean above the East China Sea. What surprised everyone even more was that as soon as Lin Qingsu finished speaking, Suyu in the air did not hesitate at all. Suyu instantly condensed his sword. At this moment, countless rivers of sword energy roared and blasted towards the stunned Silver Wing King. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.